race across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
All right, hey guys, how you doing? Happy Friday. What's going on? What's up, Chill? What's up, Uncle Bobbity? Commander, good to see you. Pamela, hi. Who else is here? Simon's here. All right, we got other people that are coming in now. Good.
How are you, Rich?
I'm good. How was your week?
Well, you know, about as good as
here, right? Yeah.
about as good as everybody's.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and I hadn't thought about your little theme until you just played it. We
Okay.
rise as one. Do you know that's more appropriate today than it's ever been in the
It
past?
absolutely is. And speaking of today, okay, so guys, we have a special guest tonight, Robyn Jackson-Stegner of Courage is the Cure. Now, Robyn comes to us from Western Australia in Perth. She's a very strong advocate for free speech and for privacy from governments tinkering in our lives. We love that. So she can be found on Rumble, YouTube, X, Facebook, and other platforms, I'm sure, where she interviews activists and community members. She records on-the-ground moments. She posts commentary that fights censorship. She also does weekly interviews with her show Relentless, where she graciously had me on a few weeks ago, and I've been dying to get her on here. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to honor and welcome Robyn. Hello, Robyn. Welcome to RPW Media with me and Jade. How you doing?
Very well. Thank you very much for having me, Rich. Hello, Dr. Jade. How are you? And hi to everyone in the audience. Nice to be here.
Oh, welcome aboard, Robyn.
Hey, my sister's here. Good. Yeah, so, all right. So let's get to it. So you're a very busy person. You do so much in this arena, and I love that because I've been watching a lot of your stuff, and you're very interesting. What got you into this line of work?
I'm going to remind myself that we're streaming to YouTube, community guidelines and standards, not censorship. I refuse to participate in an experiment, and I found myself unemployed. And like any person that perhaps was a little disgruntled about that, I went down to the city. So I'm a bush lady here in Western Australia. Went down to the city to try and find fellow disgruntled people, and I ended up hanging out with independent media here in Perth, and eventually found myself with a camera at a primary school. Hi, 40, how you going? I got to email you. I'm a terrible person.
It's up 40. Good to see you.
Because the health department had sent nurses up to schools where I live in the bush, and these are very tiny schools, 60 students,
Oh,
in
wow.
fact, was one of them,
Wow.
to give the kids the old Britney Spears. And I thought, well, that's enough, and I started filming it. Not on school property, obviously. I was standing on public property, and I started filming it, and that was the start of Courage is the Cure. I guess I just had enough, and I had to say something about it.
Was that the jab and stab vans story? Is that what that was?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yep.
I read about that. Yeah. Okay, cool, very cool.
Mhm.
So, and I heard that's what launched your channel. It's very good. Independent media is a great thing. I think it fills all the gaps between, that are left out by fake news, and that's why I think people like us are now starting to take over. So, are you working on any projects right now?
Yes. So we've just got together issue 20 of the Light newspaper Australia. I'm one of the managing editors for the Light. It's an independent newspaper which prints the uncensored truth. So issue 20 will be coming out soon of that.
Nice.
Just really planning for December, because in December we've got the under 16-year-old social media ban taking effect in Australia. And I refuse to comply with uploading my pertinent details to social media platforms. So I'm just trying to prepare for that and how I can continue my work without having to comply with that.
Wow. I did not know that. I didn't know they did something like that. Wow. Oh, I know. We always love Australia. I mean, what's not to love about you guys, right? And the thing is that when we saw during COVID, we saw some of the levels that your leaders went to with you guys. It was like, wow, because we felt bad what we had just wearing the masks and 6 feet and whatnot, which they totally made up. But when we saw like the way they were treating you guys, it was like, wow, what happened to Australia? It's like Canada. What happened? What happened to those countries?
Well, don't forget how many people lost their military position.
Oh, yeah.
They lost their.
Yeah, I don't know if that happened in Australia. Guys that didn't take the jab, did they have to leave your military?
We had a much bigger fallout for our medical professionals. They were completely gagged and prosecuted. We've still got doctors going through court because they prescribed things like ivermectin, or they gave people exemptions. And also our police officers, each state was a little bit different with, how they came to a resolution about that. Some states like Queensland recognised that the mandates were unlawful, and the police officers were reinstated. But here where I'm from in Western Australia, on the other side of Australia, the police, had multiple court cases, and the mandates were lawful and they were never reinstated. So it was a bit of a mixed bag in regards to the police in Australia. But yeah, we really had a big fallout with medical professionals and police and, teachers, nurses, all the rest of it. But particularly doctors and police.
Yeah, I know here medical professionals, you couldn't go into the hospital. You couldn't work in the hospital. You couldn't work in most clinics. As a medical professional, I was one of the early adopters because Well, I always tended to have faith in the medical system. And so when it first came out, there I was. I ran my own clinic. It was just me. I was not hooked, and I say was because I retired in November. But Department of Health and the whole thing, and me, naively believing the medical system, always figuring that the CDC had a handle on things. I'll tell you, if I knew then what I know now, I would have told them to put that where the sun don't shine.
Yeah.
I just would have. You can take your shot and imagine what I'm going to tell you to do with it, because, yeah.
So,
nope.
I understand that you're fully crowdsourced, and I totally admire that.
Yes.
Tell us why you went that route. Go ahead.
Because I am a free speech defender, and I found that when I was approached by groups and people to receive support from them, because I'm a one-woman band, I don't have anybody else doing anything, all those sorts of things. Yeah. That would have, in one way or another, perhaps not so much restricted my speech, but I would have had to potentially cover things that I don't necessarily agree with wholeheartedly. And to me, that takes away the ability for me to be truly authentic in whatever I do, and not be bound in any way to present or say things that I wouldn't. So yeah, I'm 100% crowdfunded. I don't work for other people. I don't read for other people. I don't sell things for other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Until recently, I was also totally crowdsourced, but I didn't have a crowdsource, and I was making no money. So
it's hard work. I mean, it's taken me 3 years, because crowdfunding is hard work. You have to build up an audience and a relationship, and then I do sell my own merch, which I create and design and all those sorts of things, and without the wonderful people that for all of their silliness paying any attention to me, I don't know, it wouldn't be possible. So yeah.
All right, cool.
Do you think with your government you're too far down the line to pull back from the brink, or do you guys still have hope?
We have hope. We have hope. Just before we went live, everyone in the audience, I was just telling Rich and Dr. Jade, we've got rallies across most capital cities today in Australia about government corruption, digital ID, mass migration, and a few other things. So there's a lot of Aussies out here with hope and dedication to the country to pull us back from the brink.
Yeah, because I think the medical procedures we were talking about, and the I call them First Amendment rights. You guys don't exactly have a First Amendment, but I'm sure you know what I mean. The free speech and the medical procedure, I think that looks like it's going to bring down the government in the UK, those two things.
All right.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, what's his name? Not Nigel Farage.
No, he's from England. Nigel Farage. Well, tell us. Who are your influencers? Like, who influenced you to do this? Like, mentors, any? Me, one of them was Charlie Kirk, believe it or not, sadly, today, but it was him. I had several others. Steve Bannon, guys like that. Dan Bongino, absolutely. But who who do you look up to that fights for free speech, not only in Australia but around the world, globally, and the things that, because I liken you to a hey government, get off my lawn type of person. You know, that's how I am as well. I don't like the government tinkering in my life, and I'm sick of it. But who do you look up to? Who are the people that you like?
Well, certainly in Australia, there's a wonderful gentleman called Michael Gray Griffith. He is from Cafe Locked-Out. Cafe Locked-Out is a community of podcasters. It's like if you watch the Alex Jones network,
Yeah.
Cafe Locked-Out is a network of podcasters, which I'm lucky enough to be one of them, or blessed enough to be one of them.
Cool.
Michael was a playwright, and he was cancelled during the old Britney Spears era. He couldn't put on his plays without segregating his audience, and so now he lives in a bus and travels around Australia, getting the stories from real Australians. He's a huge inspiration to me. Two people in the US, Mark Dice, I have huge respect for.
We do too.
Media analyst, one of the OGs from YouTube, independent, does all of his work from his kitchen bench on a computer. I just really admire Mark. And also Kim Iverson. I think she's absolutely fabulous as well. From what I can tell, she also is independent. But I think people like Michael, people like Mark Dice and Kim, they don't restrict what they say, even though they are on platforms like YouTube, which we all are, where we have to be careful, especially if we're talking about the World Health Organization.
Yeah, we don't talk about them. I talk about COVID though. I don't care, but I about all the mistakes they made and everything. But we don't talk about WHO. Yeah, like we don't talk about they're fake, and that the guy that runs it was never a doctor, and that he was responsible for screwing up the Ethiopia thing with Ebola. All that. Yeah, we don't get into that, but don't worry about it.
No.
Yeah, I don't care here. I don't care. They want to strike me. You know, because free speech is free speech.
Just people that don't compromise on, well researched information, and like Michael, he gets out there and shows people the real grit, the real lows of people's lives, because they don't want to present that, on corporate media to people. They want to show us something else. People like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, for example, during COVID, when I watched on Facebook, there were a bunch of doctors. They were frontline doctors, but they were from around the world, and they were doing a summit video where they were all talking about, this was before vaxes were out even, and they were all talking about how they were treating their patients. And that's where they came out with ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and other stuff that they were using. And they were literally like explaining how to take it, by your weight and size and all that, and the dosage and all that. And Facebook cut them off, just cut them off. And then Twitter cut them off. And I sat there and I thought, how many people died because the entire leftist universe in media, all the social medias and everything else, they just shut down free speech like that. And it was because the government types didn't want you to know that they existed. And I don't, for YouTube, I know it's run by lefties, but I think they were forced by our government. I know they were, because when they did the Twitter files, the Twitter dumps with Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss, who are independents, who I love, but they gave them the Twitter dump files and they exploded it onto the world, saying, these guys, like Biden had 24 departments, federal departments, that were working with social media companies on how to censor people. And so how many people, this is just a great example of why censorship sucks, because how many people may have died from COVID because they just didn't know any better. You know, and I'm sure that's why you are against it as well, because I believe that more speech solves problems. Less speech does not. And I think they do it because I believe the leftists, who are our sworn enemies on this channel, I believe the leftists that they gave up on trying to win in the arena of ideas years ago. And now they just say, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to silence you. Like fascists always have, the left-wing fascists. We're just going to silence you, and we're going to be the only voice out there, and then we win. And I think that leads to why they took out Charlie Kirk, because they didn't like the fact that he brought so many young people to the movement, and so many people are following America First and the Christian organizations that Charlie was involved in, and Turning Point USA, and they just wanted to shut him up. Yeah. And they knew he wasn't going away quietly.
And you know, the names that they call us as conservatives, the names, well, pop quiz, a government that is in bed with industry to have them do things that the government is not allowed to do. What do you call that? That's pretty much the definition of God. What am I saying? It's fascism. Thank you. That's pretty much the definition of fascism.
And another question I got for you, Robyn. Do they in Australia, do the lefties, and I know you got a lot of them, do they refer to you guys as fascists and racists and all the things that we're subjected to here?
Yes, the typical pejoratives, fascists, racists, bigots. We've had a concerted attack in recent weeks from the liberal media to put freedom fighters and liberty lovers under the same umbrella as so-called sovereign citizens. And there's been a huge media campaign saying that these people are dangerous, they're a threat to democracy. So they're instrumentally assembling this kind of umbrella of all of us in the same group, and we're all a threat to democracy. Gina's just commented there. She believes it's a much bigger thing than just the government. It's a globalist decision. I mean, especially, I agree totally, in regards to liberal corporate media. You know, you were just talking about how many people could have been saved if they weren't told to shut up. How many people could have been saved if social media didn't, censor people. You know, there was the emergency use authorization that they needed to push through, and they couldn't have a product out there which could help people to enable that. But more importantly, you know, and connecting that with Charlie Kirk, you know, they've got to reshape people's beliefs and values in society so that they can get the general public to believe that we are a bunch of fascists, racists, bigots, all the rest of us, all the rest of it, and to create that hatred and that divide where now we see political violence from the left. So it's most definitely much bigger than the government. The government just works for these shady, disgusting creatures who don't show their faces.
Right. Yeah, Linda has a question. What do you reckon about the guy in Victoria where 2 decent coppers were sacrificed for the narrative? I think he's still at large.
Yes, so his name is Desi. He's one of these, allegedly.
Linda's from Australia, by the way.
Oh, how you going? How you going, mate? Desi, yeah, he's apparently one of these sovereign citizens as well. And yes, some officers were killed, and they are still looking for him. They got the Australian Federal Police in, still couldn't find him. Then they called in the military, still can't find him.
Wow.
But it's the way that he was, or the way that the police went to his house is in question. A lot of former police and military are questioning how that operation took place. Highly unusual. So anyway, I mean, people have gone down all sorts of rabbit holes as to, you know, why they want to arrest him, where he is, what's going on. But and even people are questioning one of the police that died, that he's a crisis actor. But at the end of the day, we do know that people are sacrificed for the narrative, and it's just terrible. You know, we're dispensable to these disgusting
Isn't that
creatures. You know.
something? Now, getting back to what we were talking about just before this, where they call us names and whatnot, there's a term called stochastic terrorism. Okay, and stochastic terrorism is basically when someone in authority, like an authority figure, which would be media people today, when they demonize people, like calling Trump Hitler, J.D. Vance is a fascist, things like that. They want to end your democracy, they want to take your rights away and all that. Well, what they're doing is and we know that CNN and MSNBC are literally doing, you just have to listen to them speak on the air. But what they're doing is stochastic terrorism is they're doing these things to dehumanize the person, and also because dehumanizing gets the banality of evil in there. You don't care if you harm somebody that's dehumanized, because why would you care about that person? But it's to not get an individual person to commit violence, but someone who's listening to you. Because when they say like, oh God, Trump is Adolf Hitler and he wants to end the democracy, he wants to take away my right, I got to do something about that. The crazies. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the same everywhere. Well, Donald Trump and his administration just said they're going to be talking to these news people about this. And I don't think it would be a First Amendment right, because you don't have the right to instigate violence on people that you politically don't agree with. You can't hide behind our First Amendment for that. And I think he wants to talk to them and say, look, we're thinking of pulling your license to broadcast. And I think I call that a pretty good start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, you know, the thousands upon thousands of videos posting and boasting, people in Australia will know what I'm referencing, about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And, you know, this is where society's values have been manipulated so much,
right,
that the far left believe within themselves that it's completely acceptable to gloat and celebrate a young family man being assassinated in broad daylight. I mean, you know, this is the depravity that the Pied Piper, if you like, has led part of the population globally down this path to believe that this is acceptable. I hope Trump does do that. Obviously it's very early in the morning. I haven't seen that in the news feed. I think that would be a tremendous start.
Yeah. There was a guy, what the heck was his name? It was like Andrew Kobaleski. He spent like 40 years studying evil. Okay. And he created a study, if you will. It was called ponerology. Don't know if you heard of political ponerology. And it's basically the study of evil and what makes people evil and whatnot. And he was like middle of the road guy, right? He just liked to study what makes evil. And he said after 40 years that he learned that he had to really just focus on leftists. He said because, and he also believes, he's a psychiatrist, and he also believes that your real high-strung leftists are all psychopaths. To believe the way and the things that they believe, and to have absolutely no remorse for wanting to do harm to people. They don't care. And so ponerology is a study that I'm looking into now and finding out like what makes people that way. But you're right. I mean, we're looking online now, and some of the things, I can't even repeat some of the things that people are saying. And Charlie Kirk was just a guy who He was passionate about his country. He was passionate about God and our relationships with God, which I'm pretty strong on as well. And all he did was wanted to have, my God, he's such a monster. He wanted to have open dialogue with people. And when he had the libnuts on campuses try to do the gotchas, he would ask them a question and then put the mic down so that he wouldn't interrupt them. I mean, that's how open the guy was. But because he was extremely effective, the left wing, which is, they took him down. I can't name, maybe you, I don't know if you know, but I can't name the last conservative or person of the right who assassinated someone or who goes like Antifa and just beats the hell out of people for doing their own thing at a gathering, right? It's always been the left, but in America, we've been inundated with our media and with our Democratic Party about this damn January 6th thing, a 2.5-hour riot, all right, which now we know through the videos that were released by the speaker, Speaker Johnson, that police officers were shooting rubber bullets and tear gas into peaceful protest crowds. And now we think that they tried to stir something up to make Trump look bad. So they had a 2.5-hour riot of like 450 people involved. And yet they claim that we are the ones that are the violent ones. We have politicians here that are saying we're fighting for our democracy by stopping Donald Trump from bringing troops in to stop the killing in our cities. I think they've lost their minds. Do you have people that whacked out in Australia? That
we do.
Wing.
I mean, you know, the ideological subversion has been a global operation. And it hasn't just been through COVID, you know. I would say it's been the last 2 generations, probably since the late 80s. And, you know, I mean, even just probably, I don't know, 2000 and where are we now? Probably 2019, 2018. You know, that's when these terms were being introduced from the left, from the liberal media about microaggressions and words are violence.
Absolutely. Right.
No,
right.
Words aren't violence. I mean, I just watched a video from Charlie Kirk saying that, you know, when people stop talking, that's when it leads to violence.
Absolutely.
And isn't it just astounding that, you know, Charlie went from campus to campus, giving an opportunity for left-leaning people, or anyone for that matter, to get up and have a voice, have a say, try to engage in a debate, and provide that opportunity for young people who really want to voice their opinions. And what do? They assassinate him, not only because he spoke and utilized his free speech, but more importantly because people listened to him. You can talk all you want, doesn't mean anybody's going to listen. People listen to him. So, you know, words of violence, all these sorts of things. Unfortunately, we do see a pattern that it is the left extremists that resort to violence, and they can't use their words.
Right.
Yeah, our free speech is violence, and their violence is free speech.
Yeah, that's exactly how they do it here.
Rich, an aside, I think Nelson is in the house.
Oh, is he? What's he doing?
Yeah, have a look. I think you'll agree with me. Sorry, Robyn, we're going to take a bit of an aside here.
Yeah, that's Nelson. We got a guy, Nelson, who's a producer, and I'm not going to say the guy who he's a producer for because I like the guy and I don't want to trash him by saying that this piece of garbage is part of him. So I'm just going to.
Yeah, but he's put out like a half a dozen ridiculous comments.
He comes in and just does that. So no worries. Thank you.
Fantasies. I mean, this is just nonsense. I'm sorry. You know, I saw all these headlines last night while I was putting my speech together, and I just kept seeing them come in from, you know, corporate media. Oh, and even in Australia, trying to put these headlines out, preparing for today that two opposing groups are going to clash in capital cities.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, we're not. We go along, we use our words to
right.
communicate our message to people,
Absolutely.
and we don't want to be violent with anybody. Give me a break.
I know. And the fact of the matter is that the left has resorted to violence. I believe. Well, first of all, it's just me, but watching these people that are doing this, that are mocking the fact that he was murdered. Okay,
Yeah.
they're all progressives, and I think progressives are extremely childish. I think they have a childish behavior to them, where they throw temper tantrums and they do the na 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 on the most disgusting incidents that happen, like the murder of an innocent, like Charlie Kirk. I saw something else where they said they thought they took down a tiger, but he was really nothing more than a lamb. And he was the guy that, like you just said, he was the guy that gave them a right to express their opinion. He didn't cut them off. Of course, he destroyed them every time with facts and logic, but he didn't gloat. He didn't laugh at them. He didn't tease them, unless that one guy with the bullhorn. He got him to go away, because the guy cutting lines just was talking through the bullhorn and all. But normally, he was a very nice guy, a very nice commentator. For goodness sake, he talked about God. He started TP. He started Turning Point USA because he said he wanted to go on college campuses and tell the students, do you know you don't have to be a Democrat to be happy? You don't have to be a liberal to actually make it in this world. In fact, if you come to our side, believe in God, family, country, then you're probably going to have a better life. And the kids just loved him. I think that's why they took him out, because he's bringing the younger generation of voters in. It's just amazing. How is Australia taking it, his murder? Because I know people liked him there as well.
Yeah. We have Turning Point Australia, which was brought here by Joel Jamal. And actually last night Joel held a vigil in Sydney for Charlie. There was, from what I could see on the stream, I don't know, maybe a couple of thousand people there. People are really upset. People are shocked, bewildered, all of it. He even if people hadn't have heard of Charlie before, they have now. And I don't know how many times I've heard people say, a beast has been awoken, and there are now 1,000 more Charlies, for every one person, or that sort of thing. So people who didn't know who he was are sourcing his videos, are listening to him, and
Absolutely.
that the silver lining is that corporate media have exposed themselves as one of the arms of the very ugly octopus that is manipulating society. It is absolutely crystal clear that they have been instrumental in brainwashing and manipulating a significant global population, left-leaning, and which results in nothing positive. And this one event has exposed that, and the general public have seen through the veil. So if there is a silver lining to an awful, awful situation, people are seeing through the corporate media and the liberal media, I must say, their manipulation.
Right.
I was saying to Rich before you came into the studio that in the past there have been great men whose messy deaths have significantly changed the world.
I can think of one. He was about 2,000.
I can think of one in particular.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing Charlie to anything. I don't think he'd want me to anyway.
Right.
But actions have consequences, and that odd sound you've been hearing over the last 48 hours is the last residues of moderation leaving conservatives' bodies.
I'm telling you what, they're all influencers everywhere are using the pun that they went too far this time, and this is a turning point. This is a tipping point for conservatives. We're not the silent majority will be silent no more. I don't think so. I think there's a revolution, and I'm not talking about fact checkers, YouTube. I'm not talking about promoting violence. I'm saying that we're going to fight back now, and we're going to do it in our way. I played it for Dr. Jade, and I can't play it here because there's just way too many F-bombs in it. But it was a Hispanic gentleman who was wearing a MAGA hat, and he looked like he was a biker gang guy. He looked like he was a gangster. And he went on, every other word was F-bomb, but he went on saying, what you guys did to Charlie Kirk, to my brother, Charlie Kirk, he said, you stupid effing, whatever. He said, you just created 1 million more Charlie Kirks.
Yep.
And he said, I'm going to tell you something. He goes, Charlie Kirk was one of us. And he goes, I'm going to be crystal clear. We are all Charlie Kirk. And he goes, so good luck with what you're trying to pull off right now, because you just ended your entire livelihood. Like basically the left-wing crap is going away because we're going to rise up now. I told people during a stream I did the day it happened, and I said, you know what? I'm not promoting violence, but if you don't carry, you need to go get your firearm, take the classes, and buy and carry everywhere you go that you're allowed to, obviously, because I think it's going to be. I think it's going to get worse here because the more the Democrats and the left lose power, the crazier they get.
Desperate is the word for it.
And this is going to sound conspiracy theory-ish, but I thought about this a lot over the last 48 hours. And the Democrats have lost all power in this country. They have no power except for the judges. And guess what? Our Supreme Court just told them, no more. You're not doing this anymore. You're not doing nationalized injunctions when you're a district judge. Stay in your district. So they've lost everything. And so they know that if they lose these midterms, traditionally the out of power party is supposed to win the midterms. That's how it usually goes here, the first midterm after president gets elected. And they are poised to lose and lose royally because of the redistricting that we're doing, plus this kind of stuff. And I honestly think, I know it sounds crazy, but I think that they got the same people that tried to get Trump, like they'll get CIA types that talk to these kids and go, oh yeah, you know what, you should really check them out. I mean, all the crap that they do to manipulate them into thinking that they should do it, right? Because I think that they believed that you take Charlie out, Trump loses, that we lose the midterms. That is how desperate I think these people are, because we've seen other things they've done. And I mean, recently we've seen, like, think about it. We had gangsters. We had MS-13 gang guys from El Salvador who got caught human trafficking in a traffic stop. He had rolls of $50 bills on him and tons of coke that he was selling, right? A wife beater several times. I'm talking about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And we deported him to El Salvador. We had Democrats who flew down to El Salvador to demand to allow him to come back to America.
What is wrong with people?
Well, because you know what it is? There's another, I can't remember what it's called, but there was a guy that did a study, and he said that throughout time, when you have political parties, a political party that loses its power because it lost its way, okay, they have a political base. They have a base of voters. And what they do is they say, okay, we believe these guys are going to stay where they are. They're not going to, but we got to bring more people in because other people left. They have their core people there. So they go and all the time, they bring the most radical fringe and radical people they can into the party, which is what we're seeing now. The trans movement, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes, the squad, all those crazy knuckleheads, right? They bring them in thinking they're bringing more people in. They're going to build their base up. But at the same time, more and more of their base leaves the party because the crazies come in, right? Yeah. And so they find themselves a party of nothing but lunatics, left-wing lunatics. And that's where I think we are right now. And I think with the way that our media speaks They speak ill of conservatives. They trash right now. CNN and MSNBC and the rest of them. They are misconstruing things that Charlie said, and it's there's a plethora of it out there, and it's a shame they can't. Well, maybe they can be sued by his wife for defamation, because they're not allowed. You're not allowed to lie like that. But what they're doing is they're trying to make it look like, well, you know what, he had it coming. I mean, this is how evil they are. Do you have news people that go that far in your country? Like they would literally try to what's the word? Justify any horrific act that a left winger does around the world.
We do. I'm trying to think of a very good example to give you. What I will say is that, in particular, we have journalists. Isn't that a dirty word now? Journalists that work for networks, but in particular shows that will send out investigative reporters to, uncover the truth.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those presenters who are in positions like that are well versed and well trained, I would say, in the rhetoric that they spew out to the public. I mean, one that comes to top of mind, as Miss Jean-Pierre would say. I do miss Jean-Pierre. I do miss her.
Jean-Pierre.
She was a constant source of amusement.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I used to love watching her.
I loved her too. We miss her because now we have the most competent woman we've had in there in years.
Right.
Yeah, you see, Jean-Pierre, the one before her,
Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki.
Yeah.
She was evil and manipulative, but she was smart.
She was intelligent. Karine was the worst.
Karine
at the job.
is evil and manipulative and not smart.
She literally said one time, and she said it like matter-of-factly. She said, "Well, I am a historical figure."
Yeah.
Because she was the first Black lesbian chief secretary of
and you know what everybody on our side is going is saying. It's like okay. What why is this important? Tell me the news.
That last regime was an enigma to everybody. Even the left was like, what the hell are they doing?
I got to circle back to Chill Canuck from a few minutes ago.
Circle back Psaki. That's what we call her.
It reminded me of that. Chill Canuck, yes. Similar things were said when Trump got shot, but it's a stepwise thing. People were shocked and couldn't believe it, and I think that put an awful lot of people, over the line. And I think that it put everyone on edge. I get the feeling that this is another big step. This is like the final step. I really think that people were, oh my God, they shot our president-to-be.
Right.
Now people are saying, holy F, they actually shot Charlie Kirk.
Killed. And that's the thing, I think it's a global phenomenon too. I think everybody around the world really loved Charlie because of his demeanor, how he was. He was a family man, loved God, right?
And he's such an evil guy. What's his crime? He had opinions. Yeah. He had opinions.
So I think the world is changing. I mean, I can feel it. What about you?
Robyn? Robyn, go ahead.
Absolutely. And, occasionally the awful, disgusting creatures who want to rule our lives, they make mistakes. And this was a big one because not only, did they assassinate a young family man, who was not doing anything wrong.
Right.
They did it live on TV. And why did they do that? Because they wanted to instill fear, not just within a particular sphere of people who have a platform or popularity like Charlie or anybody else that champions free speech, but every single person who has an opposing view to the narrative. It was a direct threat to them. Hey, you shut up, you follow what we're saying, be quiet, or look what happens to you. But you know what the mistake was?
You got it.
Is that we've been fighting this fear for the past 5 years. We had one of the biggest psychological operations put upon us. Fear is the virus, and we are well versed in fighting back against fear. They made a huge mistake because none of us are afraid. We're more revved up than ever to keep fighting for the truth. So they made a big mistake there because we're
just
not.
The cure of that
we're
fear
not afraid.
virus, right?
Yeah,
This is going to
we're not
be.
afraid.
This is likely to be their Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I can feel it. I can feel it. When every influencer out there is talking about what they did, it's big, it's huge. It's the biggest story of for a long, long time.
And the liberal whack jobs keep pissing us off by the way they're talking about it.
Yeah, they just keep laughing. They're making memes now, and they don't know how to make memes, so they're terrible. But I mean, what are they going to do? Like when people finally lash out, and you just know that if conservatives actually get violent with them because they just can't take it anymore, they're going, oh, look at them, they're the violent. We always know that they were. I mean, that idiot, what the hell was her name? She was on MSNBC, used to be a Republican. Dana Bash, was it? She just came out and literally said, well, we know from all the numbers and the studies that it's the right that's the violent people. It's not the left.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, what freaking world do you live in? The left has always been violent. I mean, no matter what, because they ran out of ideas. They don't know how to debate. They don't like losing. So what they do is they resort to violence, what you just said, to shut you up, to put you in fear of not talking. I like to liken it to this. Maybe you can use this someday. In a chicken coop, okay, you'll have one chicken being killed by a fox. And there's like a dozen other chickens. And what are they doing? They're up on the wall, scared to death that they're going to be the next one. Right? And that's how most people are. They don't jump in and try to rescue someone anymore because they're afraid, with the government, I'm saying, they're afraid the government's going to take them down as well if they try to stand up for someone. And I hope this moment of the Charlie Kirk assassination, I hope it gets people so frustrated they break through and they go, you know what? Screw this. I'm standing up. I'm going to go to those protests. I'm going to fight those people if they try to stop us. I don't care anymore. That's what we need. And I'm not talking about fact checkers, YouTube. I'm not talking about going out and looking to fight people. I know I always do that. And sometimes it helps, actually.
No, I think, in particular, especially with what we've seen, with the subversion of society, with the ethics and beliefs of the left, as I mentioned, that's taken a couple of generations, and now with this event, the culture itself is changing. We don't just have a group of people like we did through the COVID war, who had a functioning moral compass and stuck to their beliefs and ethics. We now actually have a significant event, how horrific it is, that will and is already, we can see within a matter of hours, is changing the culture, and we can already see it because the people that are attempting to make memes and are terrible at it and making these abhorrent videos celebrating it are now being shamed. They're being publicly shamed. Yep. And people are being fired from their jobs. So the actual culture is changing, and that's when we're going to see another huge shift. I really hope it continues on, and that people stop being afraid of the government and being judged by your neighbour, all this sort of stuff. I really do hope that this shift continues, because it's happening already.
One thing, one thing, conservatives tend to be half decent people. So, we didn't want to be called racists or or any of the other names that people call us. So we try to be nice. And I think a lot of people have had it right up to here. And it's like, whatever, you're going to call me, whatever you're going to call me anyway. So I'm going to, and the government, at least in this country, has been going out of its way to keep people afraid. Right. There's a man by the name of Daniel Penny, very famous in this country. I don't know if you're familiar with the name. He was a former Marine that was on a subway when this crazy homeless guy started assaulting some people, and including this particular woman. And he didn't have a weapon. He just got a hold of the guy, put him in a chokehold. The guy died. What, of course, do we do? We're going to give Daniel Penny a medal, aren't we? Of course not. They prosecuted him, and he's in jail. He's just about, yeah.
He got out. It was overturned. It was overturned.
Oh, did they finally? I knew that was going through.
There was sense in the New York appellate court. Yeah,
I knew that was going through, but I didn't know that he'd actually. But anyway, they put him in jail, and then
sat in jail for a while.
There's another man by the name of Brian Malinowski. Okay, he was the head. Excuse me. He was the executive director of the Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport in Little Rock, Arkansas. His crime was that he enjoyed firearms, and he would buy and sell to friends, and then he had tables at gun shows, and the ATF got it in their head that, oh, well, he's selling enough, he must be a dealer. So, of course, what do? They send him a letter. Would you please clarify your activities and intention? No, they show up at his house.
What happens here?
I'm not making this up. They show up at his house before 6 o'clock in the morning, a dozen SWAT officers.
And CNN people are all around waiting for them.
Oh, yeah.
They got there before the SWAT guys. Oh, yeah.
Liberal media watching. The first thing to do, the first SWAT guy goes up, puts tape over his Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
And to keep this unfortunate story very, very short, they pound in the door, and he does what I think a lot of people in this country might do if somebody unannounced broke down your door in the middle of the night. Right. He comes out of his bedroom with a firearm. Yep. He was very quickly neutralized. With right there,
but this is changing. This is changing right now.
But why do they do this? They do this to make sure that nobody is going to stand their ground. However, a couple of things have changed. Our current administration is much less likely to be doing that. In fact, Trump has come out and said, "You will not do that." Right. And the other thing is people hear about this and people are fed up. So I think I wouldn't be wanting to break into anybody's house. I'll tell you, certainly in Texas, I'm not breaking into anybody's house at night. Right. But that's what the government does. And we're not as far along as we would be if the Democrats had their way. But years ago, Australia outlawed guns. So that's part of the Communist Manifesto.
They did a buyback program, I believe. And I always wondered, when I heard that term, I went, wait a minute. The government's doing a buyback program. How the hell are they able to do that when the government didn't sell me my gun in the first place?
They didn't own them in the first place.
You never sold me the gun. How the hell are you buying it back from me? That's stupid. Yeah. Right.
And they're buying it back with your money, because the money they give you is the taxes they took off you last year.
But anyway, Robyn, back to your point. You had said that people are losing their jobs now, and you're right. I read that the other day, that there are live nuts everywhere. There was an anesthesiologist woman in Florida, of all places, Red, Florida, and she was sitting there doing a selfie, and she goes, "I am so happy that he got his MF herself killed." Like that, right? And she goes, "I'm just using his words, right?" Well, she was fired, right? And a ton of other people. But think about this. You were talking about how the culture is changing, because 4 or 5 years ago, under the Biden administration, it was the other way around. We had, during the St. George Floyd riots, right? I call him St. George Floyd, right? The drug addict. Well, you ever hear of the McCluskeys? They were the people in Missouri that they lived in a gated community, and the mobsters broke through the gate, and they were going to destroy their home. And they came out on the front lawn. He had an AK-47. She had a pistol. And they said, "Get the hell off our property." And the George Soros elected prosecutor down there, she charged the homeowners for brandishing weapons as if, see, brandishing is when you unnecessarily show your firearm. Like, you get into an argument, you show the firearm. You're not allowed to do that here, right? And everybody thinks it's the Wild West here. It's really not. And here they charged no one that broke through. So my point is, years ago, if you said something, you said you didn't want transgender people in the girls' bathrooms in schools, you were the one that got charged with a crime, with a hate crime. You were the one that could be fined or go to prison. All right. Well, now today, these people are all losing their jobs. And why? Because this was such a horrendous thing, and so many people were hit, that businesses are like, you know what? I don't care if these are professionals or not. I don't want my company to be associated with these knuckleheads. We're just getting rid of them.
No, I mean I was listening to Mark Dice this morning, and he was talking about businesses. You know, these people are dangerous, because that if they don't like you and you have a dangerous workplace, it potentially, you know, judging on their actions, you know, if they watch you walking on a job site and they see something that's dangerous and they dislike you, do you think they're going to warn you that you're about to harm yourself? I mean, these people are potentially a liability in a workplace. You know, I just want to comment. I think Dawn has said about guns in Australia. They haven't outlawed guns. They definitely did the buyback scheme in the late 90s after the Port Arthur massacre, and actually now, especially in Western Australia, they're changing the gun regulations again to disarm the public, and it's all about disarming the public. We know what they're doing. So yeah, there's still guns here, but they're making it extremely difficult for people to own them, and even, you know, heirlooms. You know, if your great grandfather passed down a gun he had on a farm,
right,
you know, 100 years ago, they want to take that off you as well. So yeah.
Well, they try to do it here. Luckily, we have a Second Amendment that, and you know what? It's the last bastion of sense. It's our Supreme Court. Even the live nuts on the Supreme Court, the three of them, it's always 6-3, and we always go, gee, I wonder what three went against the 80-20. All right, but even the left wingers know that there's a reason for our Second Amendment. It is more so to be able to protect yourself personally and your family and property, not for a militia. You know, that's the only reason why we have not had our Second Amendment removed.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the communist playbook. They need the population to be afraid, because a population that's afraid is easier to manipulate. And how do they keep you afraid? They disarm you, and they make sure that they have all these criminals and gangs wandering the streets. So what do? They just keep letting the criminals out, and you're disarmed. And then if you bother to try and defend yourself, you're the one in trouble. Like the case in the UK, I'm sure you're very familiar. What was it? This 14-year-old girl, and there's a couple of Bulgarian immigrants, and she's defending her 12-year-old sister, and there's a picture of her from the video with a hatchet and a blade. And well, the cops show up. You know, of course they arrest the bad guys. No, they arrested her. They took her away.
Unbelievable.
Days and days later, because I think they were worried about torches and pitchforks, they did finally arrest the Bulgarian guy. That's my understanding.
It's like bass backwards with all these people. And think about it. It's always left wingers.
Hang on. So Yeah, just one last point. They did finally arrest that guy, but the young girl is still in trouble. She is still in trouble for the weapons charge.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, she's still in trouble for that. Okay, no. And then you have the Canadian, the head of the RCMP coming out and saying, I don't know if anybody heard this, and basically they say, well, we don't want anybody to be hurt. The easiest way is to just, lock yourself in a room or get out of their way and leave your keys to your car near your front door, because maybe if they want your car, they'll break in, they'll just take the keys and take your car away and everybody will be fine. He's telling people this. To me, and to me, that sounds like the old, very nasty joke. Eliminate RAPE, consent.
Yeah, that was stupid.
That's a very ugly, but I mean, that joke is funny because it's so stupid and can't exist, except it exists now. That's what they're telling people. Don't resist.
Right.
Don't resist. Let them take what they want.
Robyn.
Anyway.
What do you got?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. And I just want to give you an example. I mean, where we have been seeing, I hope we're going to see a shift and a change, a real dismantling of democracy in Australia. I mean, somebody in the comments as well, I'm sorry, I've forgotten who it was talking about machete bins, right? We just mentioned the gun buyback, changing the gun regulations. We have been having stabbings and machete attacks, particularly among young people. So Jacinta Allen, the Premier of Victoria, which was the wonderful Danistan, dictator Dan's state from the COVID war, she came up with a great idea and spending millions of dollars on machete bins, right, which they've installed outside police stations where you can go and deposit your dangerous machetes, because machetes are now banned in Victoria, right? And of course, this is just very clever idea, because all the criminals are going to go and put their machetes in the machete bins. Anyway, the shadow minister from in Victoria, he stood up and he was asking Jacinta, the Premier, about the increase in crime and the fact that women and children don't feel safe in Victoria anymore. Machete bins aren't enough. What are you going to do about it? And you know what they decided to do? This was in Parliament.
I can't imagine.
In that place, they decided that instead of answering the questions, instead of spewing the usual rhetoric or even trying to bluff or possibly lie their way through answering, they decided that he would be silenced and he had to leave that place, Parliament, for the rest of the day.
They're always that way, aren't they?
Standing. So just no, computer says no, get out, not talking about it. I mean, this is nuts.
That's just crazy town, if you ask me. And it's always like think about this. In the United States, we have a bunch of red states, okay, with a lot of supermajorities in their legislature, and we don't see this kind of crazy crap. We don't hear about the innocent people getting arrested and cashless bail and all that. All that crap is on the left, and they're trying to say that we're the screwed up ones.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a total disconnect with reality for these people, and it seems to be worldwide. It's globally. Wherever there's a problem, it's not the right, it's the left. A lot of people think, well, in Iran, they're on the right. No, they're not. They're a bunch of socialists in Iran. Even the Ayatollah, they're a bunch of socialists over there. They're not right-wingers. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that, which is why I always thought it was hilarious when they call conservatives Nazis. The Nazis were left-wing socialists. And they ruled like socialists. It was literally in their name. They treated businesses like the socialists do. They treated the people like the socialists do. They believe in animal rights. They believe in all the crazy shit that the socialists here believe in. But so everything's being twisted, but they do it with a straight face. You got to be some kind of psychopath to be able to look at somebody and go, well, you know, a man that puts on a dress and claims he's a woman, he's a real woman. What, you know, what kind of people are these? And where did this virus come from? The woke mind virus. Like, it seemed like it just came out of nowhere and it went worldwide, thanks to the media, of course, because the media made it seem like it. Otherwise, it would have been a fad. But holy cow, it's like everywhere. It's not contained into any one country and society. It's everywhere. It's just not.
It's one of the only diseases that can be spread by the internet.
Yeah, exactly. And she's a doctor, so
yeah, social contagion. I mean, we know when we talk about you know, this new trans phenomena. I'm not talking about you know, transvestites.
Right.
You know, the real ones from back in the day. You know, we can see, you know, and there's a lot of papers and data to confirm this in regards to social contagion with cutting and bulimia, these sorts of things. It is a social contagion, particularly among young girls. And this social contagion of trans has been pushed, you know, through the media, through entertainment, and it is harming young children and young adults and making, you know, lifelong big pharma patients out of them and medically castrating them.
Right.
You know,
Crazy.
Still, you know, this brain rot, this mind virus is so contagious and so serious that it's going to be a real fight with our words, not with actual violence, to rescue the next generation of children, because we have to rescue the culture, ideology, beliefs, values, and rescue the next generation so it doesn't continue.
Why do you think they want to control our schools?
Right. Oh, yeah, always get the children. That's the Marxist way. You ever hear of Yuri Bezmenov? Look him up.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about him today in my speech.
Oh, God bless you. Yeah. Where he basically told a CIA guy in that interview that, you know, this is what's going to happen to you. And damn if he wasn't right. And today we have the people that he said, no matter, you could show them empirical evidence, they will still not believe you. And he said they won't believe you all the way up. You can show them the gulag and open the door. They still won't believe you until you kick them in the ass in there and slam the door. Then it's too late. And that's how the left is in this country. And I think every other country, they're just out of their minds, crazy. And I think what they did with the whole trans movement, I think it was, and with pretty much everything in the United States under the Biden administration, it was called queer theory. And queer theory is nothing sexual. It's about, you want to queer up your society. You want to do things that make people go, wait a minute, that makes absolutely no sense. People so confused that they would accept any political situation that would stop it. It's like Cloward and Piven, right? Cloward and Piven, you want to bring socialism in. So what you do is you get policies like Barack Obama did, and that he literally seemed to be attacking capitalism every single day of his presidency. And so that it collapses and people go, you see, I told you capitalism would fail. And then we have this system, a rising phoenix of socialism that will save all. Well, Adolf Hitler did the same thing. He used the socialist system to rise the German people out of it. And look what happened.
Yeah,
But,
I gotta turn it around too. The thing is, on our side, for the most part, most people don't care. You can dress how you want. You can date who you want.
Right.
You can say what you can laugh at what you want. You can design off-color memes, and maybe we'll laugh, maybe we won't. But for the most part, it really doesn't matter. What somebody does across the street and down at the corner in their house. The break point comes when they try and tell us that's what we need to do.
Right.
In fact, I watched a short video the other day that there was a young man, self-described effeminate gay man, and he really was. And he said he's a Republican, and he says, yes, I've faced lots of hate and lots of people coming up against me, and it's all been from Democrats. He said every bit of it. He says he goes in to like a conservative or a Republican meeting, people shrug their shoulders and say, hi.
Yeah, it's always the left. The left is always, like I always said,
all of the hate comes from the Democrats, and they look at him and say, how can you do this? You're a traitor. You can't be supporting that. And, you know, they treat him like he just murdered his mother.
I don't even say it's Democrats. I think it's the left. I always say this, Robyn. I say that liberals and conservatives can get along because they have the same goals. For example, liberals say, well, we want clean air and clean water. Well, shit, I want clean air and clean water too. I'm a conservative, right? They say, well, you know, we want to, you know, protection and we want to be safe. Well, we want protection to be safe. The difference is how we go about it. Whereas the liberals, well, conservatives, we believe capitalism is the way to get cleaner air and water, and it's worked in America, right? Whereas liberals always believe government force is the only way to do it because you're never going to get them right. And so we have the same goals. We just differ about how we get there. So we can get along with them. Now the left comes along. Those moments, they are crazy people. Whereas we say we want clean air and clean water. They're like, well, we want boys to be able to go in the girls' bathroom. We want to be able to mutilate these kids so that the doctors can make a shitload of money. You know, the things that they believe are just. You're like, wait, that doesn't compute. You know, so we have, and this is what I'm saying with the Charlie Kirk thing. We have absolutely nothing in common with these people. And I honestly don't want to live with them anymore. I don't. That's why people here, we go to red states. I'm in a blue state. It's about to become a red state. But we go to red states for the freedom and let them kill each other in the other states because we can't get along with the left anymore. They're now hunting us.
Yeah. And in Canada, they've really completely lost sight of the picture. I watched an interview on CTV, one of the big Canadian networks, and they were talking about the canola oil industry in the Western provinces, which is one of the big sticking points with the Western provinces. And the whole thing centered around, well, you know, if they're having trouble, what do we need to talk about? Subsidies, so much per acre. And the first thing that comes to mind is like, back up, you stupid son of a gun. How about you don't, I didn't say son of a gun, but you know what I mean. Back up. How about you take away some of the multitude of rules and regulations that are hampering the industry, and you stop taking most of what they earn and let them do their business. But the first thing these people talk about this lady, she's interviewing one of the politicians. She says, well, what do we need to do? Do we need to give them subsidies? No, how about just let them do business?
Absolutely.
They don't have it. It's just, they don't go there. You just can't see it.
Yeah, I know. God, Robyn.
The 40s just said there, we accept the other stuff. We have no idea where to draw a line. I was talking to Doc Malik the other night, and he asked about practical steps people can take. You know, we all know, you know, use cash, you know, so on and so forth, all these sorts of things. But particularly now with people that are either on the fence or they're kind of leaning towards, you know, reclaiming their brain and their freedom. You know, we need to make a list of non-negotiables, you know, that line that 40 mentioned. And hi, Dawn, how are you? We need to make that list of non-negotiables because we're constantly being pushed further and further and further to accept things that generally are unacceptable. You know, that good old Overton window, particularly in politics, but, you know, now it's expanded to every facet of our life. And so I think it's really important if you don't have a list of non-negotiables. If you haven't drawn the line in the sand and gone, right, I'm not going to do those things,
Right.
you'll keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And before you know it, it's like when you're fat. It doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just wake up and you're a fat person. It's happened incrementally.
Right.
And that's what they want. They want to push you without you noticing. So draw that line in the sand, have your list of non-negotiables,
Incrementalism, I call it.
and just say no.
Yeah, I call it incrementalism. They're very good at that. Like, for example, in the United States, they didn't want smoking on airplanes. We used to smoke on airplanes, right?
Yeah.
and I used to smoke, and now I don't, so I understand it. But the thing is that what did they do? They didn't say stop smoking, no more smoking on airlines, because people would revolt. What are you talking about? You can't take that right away from me. And so what did they do? They said, okay, flights that are 3 hours or longer or shorter, you don't get to smoke. People went, I can go 3 hours. And then it became 2, then it became 1, then it became nobody. And everybody went, wow, how do we get here? But everybody accepted it because incrementalism works. And that's been a tool of the left for years.
Yep. I'm just thinking back to that. You remember also in Australia, to get people to stop smoke, they put a line in a restaurant and say that's the smoking section, that's the non-smoking section. It reminds me of COVID with, you have to sit down to eat, because if you're standing up and eating, you're going to get the virus. I mean, give me a break.
And get this, they, when you were on an airplane, you had to have the mask on. But you could take the mask off when you ate. So it's like, I'm sorry. And here you would go into a restaurant, you had to have the mask on. You went and sat down at your table, you took your mask off. You have all these people sitting around you with no masks on. You're like, wait a minute.
And then if you were Antifa, you didn't need a mask.
Yeah.
If you had an Antifa rally, well, that was okay. That was okay.
George Floyd, the St. George Floyd riots, they weren't wearing masks, and they were like, we're not going to bother you.
Yeah, but
whoever got their asses kicked.
Do you remember? Do you remember when they had smoking sections in airplanes?
Yeah. They divided up. On a Polish airline one time, the right side of the plane was smoking, and the left was non. I kid you not.
And I always thought that non-smoking sections in restaurants or on airplanes, is that kind of like a no pissing section in a swimming pool?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I mean,
we will say that. Yes.
Can I say that?
I'll edit that out later. Don't worry, Jay.
Rich, can I say that?
Yeah, you can, but
Maybe you want to, maybe you want to put one of those funny bubbles over my mouth as I say that. But really, I mean, give me a break.
We can laugh at them. Still, when we went through this stuff, you're like, wait a minute. And then they wanted us. I firmly believe that I believed Agenda 21 was a real thing. And then they called it Agenda 30. Then it was the Great Reset. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we know that because Klaus Schwab, he wrote the book called The Great Reset. And he told us exactly what it was going to do. It was Brave New World. That's what it was. It was Brave New World. Right. And I honestly think that that's why they did COVID as the first you will obey. They get you to comply. Because every time you walk down the street and you see someone with a mask, we got to comply with that. Right? So they wanted to know what more they could get away with. And they started doing things. In California, they arrested a man because he was surfing by himself, no one around for miles, and he didn't have a mask on. And they arrested his ass. And that was like the last straw for people. They're like, no, we don't want to do this anymore. And that was the beginning of the fight back. I always call it with tyranny, I call it the beach ball effect. Did you ever hear of that? The beach ball effect is you take a beach ball and you're in a swimming pool and you take a beach ball and you push it underwater. Well, the beach ball is the people and the person pushing down is the government. Now what happens? You let go and the ball comes up, but you keep pushing it underwater and you have to hold that ball underwater. All right. And eventually you can't do it anymore. And it rises up again, because that's what happens when enough people say, we've had enough. We're not doing this anymore. And you vote appropriately. But it has to get bad enough in order for that.
Rich, hold on, Jake.
Yeah,
go ahead, Robyn.
Oh, sorry. Is it Huxley that said, a certain part of the population is unable to be hypnotized? I mean, when we're talking about the left, and social contagion, it seems to me, it's got to be constant. That pressure has to be constant. But you can infect someone with the brain rot.
Yeah.
With all of us,
Right.
they had to try that, keep the pressure applied with the incrementalism, you know,
Uh-huh.
creating the pools with the non-weeing section and the weeing section, and we saw through that nonsense. And so, that again is one of those experiments to see, okay, we know part of the population is going to buy it hook, line, and sinker. We don't have to worry about them. We've
Right.
got to see how far we have to push, how much pressure we have to apply, how many steps, how many different increments we have to make these people do what we want them to do. And I think probably I would say we've surprised them, that so many of us just went, no, not happening.
Not
Uh,
gonna do it.
so I think they've got some great data from the COVID war, and I think moving forward now they're making silly mistakes because they're panicking and doubling down.
Well,
They're desperate.
this is why the Trump administration is releasing everything they did. Right now, our Congress and the Trump administration are going through the COVID docs. And what the Democrats do is when they have something that's shady and it was really bad, they just classify it so nobody can read it. So Trump has authorized the people in these departments, CDC and whatnot, RFK Jr., authorized them to be able to declassify anything that they think the American people should see within reason, of course. And there's a lot of things that I heard that they wanted to do to us, but they thought, nah, maybe that will go too far. Like they really wanted to force us all into the jab of an experimental medicine. Like it was experimental. And
Did you have did they build camps for you? Because they started building resilience camp. I've just
Right.
got one not
I
too
saw
far
that.
away from me.
I saw that Australia camps. I saw that, and they go, well, they're quarantine camps. They're not internment camps. You dumbass.
they-
I'm like, wait a
they
minute.
did-
You get told to live there by the government, and you can't leave until they tell you can leave. Yeah, that's an internment camp, right? There's no difference.
We didn't do
Did
that
they
here.
build them for you?
We didn't do that here. Well, it was worse in China. Did you see what they did in Shanghai?
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
In Shanghai, what happens is Shanghai, it was a very affluent community. They were the white collar guys, right? They made money. They had cars. They had their nice apartments and all that. And what happens in a totalitarian country when you're living comfortable and your whole community is? What happens? You start asking questions about your government. Like, did we really create this thing in the Wuhan lab and unleash it on the world? Those empty cities, like, why did we do that? Is that why my interest rates are so high and my credit score goes low because I talk against you? This happened so much that if you remember, they sent the military out to all, like it was like 10,000 people in Shanghai in the complexes, the apartment complexes, and they welded their doors shut on them.
They barricaded and welded the doors.
Couldn't get out. And one day I learned of this because I watched a video where this guy showed that, and then at the end he held his cell phone up. He was standing on a balcony way up. They didn't barricade that, so he's standing up and he's playing, and it looked like Manhattan. Like you look down the road at night and you see all the lights on the beautiful buildings, and that's what it looked like. And you heard this beautiful sound. It was like birds singing, and the guy turns around and he goes, "That's not music or birds that you're listening to. That is the people who are crying out, 'I'm starving. Please help me. Why did you lock me in? I need to get out. Are you going to let me out?'" It's all the people crying out loud so that someone would hear them. And the reason why, I tell you this, the reason why they did that, Xi Jinping said, if we take the most affluent people in our society and we do this to them, and that's the consequence, they're going to die in that apartment, then the rest of the peasant population will not rise up against us, because think about what we can do to them. And that's what the left strategy has always been. This is why they went after Trump's lawyers after the 2020 election, when his lawyers went to try to find out how much they cheated. They started charging all the lawyers in every state that Trump hired. And that's what communists do. And the message was, if you want to work for Trump, this is what's going to happen to you. Do they do that sort of thing in Australia?
Oh, of course. I mean, we just had a big one with Charlie Kirk being assassinated in front of everybody's eyeballs.
Really?
You know.
It's all.
Going back. Go ahead. Finish up, Robyn.
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Going back to something you said earlier, it's basic military indoctrination. You take 18-year-olds and let me put this in the form of the question. What use do you think shining your boots is on a battlefield? Of what use do you think ironing a crease into your pants and marching is on a battlefield? You know what that is?
Yeah.
That's discipline. You are getting people to do things. Okay, you shine your shoes. If you don't shine your shoes, the drill sergeant yells at you. Suddenly, you're very much in that hamster wheel.
Right.
Then when you
comply,
but the important part is now, once you're indoctrinated like that, this is just what I do. When you go into the battlefield and the lieutenant has to send a squad of guys up the hill and half of you aren't coming back.
Yeah.
You will do it because you do the small things, then you will do the big things. And it's pretty much, because even Fauci, he even came out and said that the 6 foot thing.
The world, not just America.
Yeah, no, the 6 foot thing. Fauci came out and said, "Oh yeah, well, because somebody asked him where he got it, and it sounded like a good idea."
Yeah.
Yep.
We made it up. We didn't know what to say.
He said he sounded like a good idea. These people are just so. Yeah, Pamela, you're right.
You got to outlaw liberalism. I always have this thing I say. Satan one day was urged to create a way of life in order to conquer the world, and responding creedily, he named it liberalism. So Satan created liberalism to conquer the world, and he almost won. Because think about it: if Kamala Harris were elected, or Joe Biden, God forbid, if he or Kamala were elected, I think the world would be a much different place today than it is now. And I know that when the United States is weak, the world becomes chaos, because bad actors, they know there's nobody watching us. There's no one. We can do what we want. And countries around the world get screwed over that way. But when the United States is strong, the world is strong. And the Marxists, the communists, if you will, when they're in power, they don't give a rat's ass about anybody but themselves and their own oligarchs just making fortunes of money. And I am just so thankful that Trump won for that alone, because now we have movements around Europe and around the world, really, where populist nationalism is taking place. They're saying, you know what? Why are we such globalists when we're totally broke? We're in debt, all because we got to help everybody else before we help. We have people starving in the streets, and so no more. Take care of our own first, then worry about the world. And that's just such a brilliant concept. Like Trump always said, America first doesn't mean America alone. He said, we're going to take it because, and it's not like take fully care of us and don't do anything until every American's there, because that's never going to happen. But it meant that the leftists go out of their way to say, screw the American people. They just voted for us, the fools. We'll kiss their ass right before the next election and they'll be dumb enough to vote us in again. But we want to help all these other people around the world because there's a grift. There's a way to make money with that. And that's why I say we have to somehow outlaw liberalism. And if we could do that, which I know we can never do, but if we could do that, the world would be not perfect, but a much nicer place if we got rid of the liberals and the lefties.
Yeah.
They cause
I know in Australia we're we've got just like everywhere, cost of living crisis, not nowhere near enough houses. We've got a mass migration problem. People, despite what our government and liberal media wants to tell everyone, Australia's not a country full of racists. We just need to, pause mass migration at the moment. And we've got skyrocketing levels of homelessness, working poor, complete obliteration of the middle class. And what, our Prime Minister, Mr. Anthony Albanese, the embarrassment that he is, there he is donating $500 million, to a Polynesian island for their rugby team. I mean, this is where Australians really see where our leaders' priorities are, and it's definitely not with the people. I don't care how much airtime Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10, and the People's Broadcaster, the ABC, gives him, and spewing his rhetoric everywhere and saying this is the best policy for Australians, and blah. No, it's nonsense. And when you're handing over large sums of money like that for rugby teams, you clearly not only are our leaders incapable of doing their job properly, they actually think that Australians are stupid and we're not going to notice.
Right.
I mean,
that's why when Trump had Elon Musk do the USAID investigation, the hundreds of billions of dollars that were wasted on globalist causes, where many of those causes were for globalists who were using the money to trash America, to trash the Western world. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't vote for that. And then they call Trump a fascist because they don't know what the word means and they don't know any other words. And so they call him a fascist because he says, wait a minute, we're not spending $1 million to put shrimp on a treadmill to see if it affects their heart rate if they walk at a certain speed. They literally put money into a program like that. And you're like, wait a minute, what? You know what I think it was? I think it was like a friend of like the Bidens or like some big Democrat, right? And they go, follow this guy. Let's see if they do it. I want $5 million. We're going to put shrimp on a treadmill and see if they get affected in different types of water. Like their hearts go, let's see if they put the money through. Son of a bitch, they got to check. I mean, it's that crazy here. And so when you try to fight back at them, they just come out. Think about it. They lost all power, the Democrats in the United States. They had no power. So they turned to the courts, the activist courts. I call them Jacobins in black robes. They turned to the courts. Well, now the courts were shut down by the Supreme Court, and so they shot Charlie Kirk. That's it. In a nutshell, they got rid of the next guy. They said, all right, well, we don't have any power here, so let's go to the courts. Now we lost our power in the courts. Let's take out the number one guy that's going to win the midterms for the Republicans. I really believe that's why they did it, to take him out so that he doesn't tell the next lineup of youth in colleges that, hey, A, you don't have to go to college, look at me, and B, you don't have to be a liberal. Yeah. I honestly think that.
But there's one question, Robyn, about that $500 million that went to the football club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much of that was kicked back and to who?
Yeah, really. They had.
See, that's the thing. Because USAID, like Rich was saying, they were sending money. They were doing things like they sponsored a program. It was a women's program to study deviant art in Afghanistan.
Yep. Who knew they had deviant art in the caves of Afghanistan?
They sponsored a transgender opera in, I think it was Bolivia. And I mean, it just goes on and on. That's just a couple that
we could read the sheets, but we don't have time. We're going to.
How much of that was grifted back into people's pockets? I guarantee you, like the time we sent,
that's what they say. Follow the money.
Like the time we sent hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine, the next week Nancy Pelosi, her son, and her entourage flew to Ukraine.
Probably
You got to wonder, what were they doing in Ukraine, right?
probably get some of that money.
You
We're gonna flip over to doing the Charlie Kirk stories. If you want to stay, you are so welcome to do if you have time. If you don't, we understand.
I do have to get ready. As I said, I'm speaking at one of the Australia Unites rallies today. Well, the one in Perth, obviously. But thank you so much for having me, Rich, and a pleasure to meet you, Dr. Jade.
This was awesome. Do me a favor, tell everybody where they can reach you, where they can see you, where they can watch you.
You can find Courage is the Cure on YouTube, Facebook, X, Rumble, and Substack. And I have a second Rumble channel called Robyn's Hood, which is where I do my morning shows, Rise, and relentless interviews live on my channel, Courage is the Cure. So, yeah,
all right, cool.
Everywhere.
That's awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you.
This was a really good stream. Thank you for doing that for us.
Thank you. Great to meet you, Robyn.
See everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye. Awesome. That was pretty good, guys. What do you think? I thought that was pretty good.
I think it was very good.
Yeah, I thought it went well.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking with Robyn.
Yeah, me too. All right, so now let's go over. We're going to go and do some stories. Why does that go like that? Okay. So let's see. I'm going to bring it up. This is going to be the Charlie Kirk hour because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. All right. How many of you guys liked Robyn? I think Robyn is awesome. Yeah, says I love Robyn. I know she's awesome. I'd like to. I hope I'm not offending her when I say I think she's like us. She's one of us. She's like she could be family, right? Because we're all conservatives. We all can't stand the liberal, the woke mind virus. We're all doing our own due diligence in our own societies and trying to make the world a lot better place. And it would be if we got rid of the lib nuts. And so she's one of the hardest working people I've seen. She's constantly doing stuff for the cause. And I just love that. I just love it. And I hope we can get her back again sometime. So,
and Uncle Bobbity, with Robyn being here, I really didn't prepare anything. So we might be skipping the Dr. Jade moment this week, unless something spontaneously comes to me. I figured we were going to be pretty tied up with Robyn.
And then we'll play that. All right. So here we go. So the big stories. All right. So we got them. Alleged Kirk assassins in custody. Tyler Robinson, exclusive 22-year-old Utah ID'd as Charlie Kirk. The thing is, the lib nuts right now are trying to say, well, his father was a Republican. He was a conservative. Therefore, that's why he's like that. Yeah, his father, he was a police officer. His father turned him in. That's the answer. That's the response. Dumbass. His father's the one that turned him in. So don't think that he got the ideology of the left from his father, right? So here we go. Assassinations will continue until GOP creates consequences. That's a good one. John Nolte from Breitbart, they are hunting us. 15 violent political attacks on conservatives. Men of the West, we are at war, and we are at war now. TPUSA, this is the first one I'm going to play. TPUSA releases a beautiful tribute video to their founder, Charlie Kirk. Here are some heinous members of the professional class who cheered Charlie Kirk's death. And I think most of them lost their jobs. And the reason why I'm posting this is because I hope they lose their jobs. I bring attention to it. Seriously, they're actually, they don't deserve to be in modern society. They don't. I'm not saying kill them, but they should not be professionals in our society. They mocked a family man of two very young children being murdered, being assassinated. Charlie Kirk's death and America regaining its footing on the righteous path, because we're seeing this already. FBI releases video of the Kirk's assassins getaway. You probably saw it, but it's all good. Now, here's one. You ready? I don't know if we'll go into it, but Alex Jones. All right. The way Alex Jones is right 99% of the time. The other percent he's talking about little green men from Mars, okay? So, and he's probably right about that too. But the way Alex Jones gets his news, you think, how the hell does he get these scoops? He makes now that Robyn's gone, I can curse. He makes a shit ton of money But he spends, yeah, we do too. By the way, Dawn, thank you. I couldn't say anything, but thank you so much for earlier. Thank you very much. He gets a shitload of money, but he spends millions on his informants. So if you're a hotel clerk, let's say in Virginia, in a Virginia hotel, and you see somebody important come into the hotel, come into the hotel with a woman that's not his wife and all that, whatever. Well, like he has them on the payroll, and they notify him, yeah, so and so was just here, and he'll send reporters out or investigators out, right? You got like that's how he found out that Gavin Newsom was in the French Laundry, right? They were all sitting around, no mask, sitting all next to each other, no 6 distance, right? Because he had people that worked there, and they hit him up, right? So that's where he gets all his news, and so that's why I say, if Alex says something, you can probably believe it, even if it's kind of crazy. Just read the story without dismissing it right away. And that's one of them. This one here is, he found out, drumroll, he found out that the New York Times and the LA Times had written a story that Charlie Kirk was assassinated 19 hours before he was assassinated. They didn't publish it. But he found out from some of those informants inside those two rags, those two shithole rags. He found out that they actually wrote the story and didn't publish it. I guess in the end they went, you know what? We're not going to publish this. We'll wait until it happens. But what does that tell you? Did the Operation Mockingbird work the other way, where the CIA guys told the news people, yeah, this is going to happen. It's going to get murdered. So write a story. Get ready. Be first. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Thank you for the validation. Appreciate it, Pam. But yeah, crazy, right? So the video shows Vice President. Yeah, this is sad. JD Vance. Now the left was saying, well, JD Vance was supposed to go to New York to commemorate 9/11. The fuck? These people for years did not let us show, the news networks did not let us show the planes going into the buildings. I think every day we should see that. Oh, well, it's 7:01. We're going to see the planes go again, because you should never forget what the hell they did to us. But so he went to Charlie Kirk's family. Yeah, no, he went to act as a pallbearer for the casket. Like, he didn't carry, but he put his hand on it, right? Because he's the vice president. He was very close to Charlie Kirk. They were very good friends. So they're a Turning Point USA breaks silence. Charlie Kirk, America's greatest martyr. Then we have the plethora, not so much a plethora, because I knew we were going to be doing Robyn's segment. I'm glad she went over as much as she did, because I like talking to her. She has really good stuff. So let's do the tribute first. I'm going to click it. I'm going to set it up. Yeah, good. It's already set. So here we go. Ready? Enjoy.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard. I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really: America's the greatest country in the history of the world. Constitution is the greatest political document ever written. Free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the 3 big ideas. And I think that's something that can win.
Look at him.
We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus, but no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children. And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing.
Republic, you are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith.
He is. Wow.
You know, when he, oh, geez, I went very dark. When he died, you know, and they said that he was 31, and I'm thinking, how can he be 31? He's been around forever. He's got to be like 50.
18. No, he was
He
18.
started the thing when he was 18.
Yep.
That's how he did it.
Yep.
So,
That's right.
yeah, because I just remember he's been around forever. He's way older than 31, but no, that's why. Because he started it when he was 18. Man, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, he was an amazing guy, man. And the work, I have one of Candace here too, where she talks about, because you know that she started with him. He started his thing with her, and she tells inside baseball, and it's a really heartwarming.
So she was part of Turning Point USA at one point?
Yeah, she worked with him.
I may have known that at some point.
He was always. She said that. Well, I should play it. It's that good. Hang on. Let me see if I can find Candace. Did I put it in there? No, I didn't. I could find it though. Yeah, let me find it. Because I got it in my history here. Come on, history. Yep, it's called "To My Friend Charlie Kirk." It's 23 minutes. We're not going to play the whole thing, but from the beginning, it's really good. Why are you doing that to me? All right, so we're going to bring it up now. All right, share the screen. They're all saying for Charlie Kirk. It's pretty cool, man. Here we go.
Well, that has never happened before. I guess we could say Charlie broke the internet one more time. 150,000 of you guys were watching, and the system just sort of crashed. And it just really makes me happy that happened. Actually, it was already very difficult for me to do this for a lot of reasons, but I knew it was important because I didn't want the last thing that people had in their minds about Charlie to be the moment he lost his life. That was what was especially hard because he's just had so many amazing moments throughout his career. Yep. And as I was saying, I was having this discussion with George this morning, obviously through a lot of tears, about not wanting Charlie's caricature to survive when the actual Charlie Kirk individual, who Charlie Kirk actually is so much more important. The caricature, the cartoon, is that Charlie is this young, smart guy, made a career out of debating college kids, decided not to go to college, started Turning Point USA. And I think a lot of people thought that Charlie must take himself a bit too seriously. And I want you guys to know that that could not be further from the truth. Charlie and me were always laughing. Yes, he was ambitious. Everybody knows Charlie is ambitious. I met him back in 2017 when Turning Point was this very young organization. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who Charlie Kirk was. And Charlie was always wearing these really baggy suits. I mean, they looked like they were hand-me-downs from 3 generations because he was focused on the ideas. He didn't care about his appearance. He was laser focused on what he knew Turning Point could become. Not could become, but would become. He hired me on the spot. We were at this conference in Florida, and he and I used to always say, we never said the rest was history. You know, the rest is history. We say the rest is future. We were totally locked in, and I want you guys to know about our first planning sesh, okay? It was in the middle of Chicago O'Hare Airport. There is this restaurant that's called the Macaroni Grill. I sat down with Charlie on our first trip together. He flips over this little paper menu as we're waiting for our flight, and he takes out this pen and he just starts drawing a map of what he wants to happen into the future, what the Turning Point organization will become. It was spastic, it was unhinged, it was the absolute best. It was true Charlie. He was a visionary. Charlie was a visionary. If he could envision it, it was going to happen. He knew that, I knew that. And what he had envisioned was for Turning Point USA to become the biggest conservative student organization, not just in the nation, by the way,
He did. You're
but in
right.
the world. He kind of squabbled and swiveled and wrote that the structure is currently a 501c3, and he's sitting there talking to me, but here's what we can do in the future, and here's how, and then I'm going to probably take control of the RNC. I mean, he's 23 years old, right? And he's speaking to me about how he's going to take over the RNC. The person that he adored the most, like really, and never in a million years did he think that he was going to meet him, and of course he did, was Rush Limbaugh. He was really raised on Rush Limbaugh, listening to Rush Limbaugh day in and day out. And he told me through many conversations that if he could have a show like Rush Limbaugh one day, he would be very happy.
And he did.
That was, I think, his ultimate goal, and it happened.
Yep.
We had a bunch of rules. Charlie's rule was never say no to Fox News. So even if the show was at 4 a.m. in the morning, crack of dawn, I cannot tell you guys how many hits we did on Fox News. I'm talking 4 hits a day. Up at 4 a.m. for Fox and Friends first, and then doing whatever the evening program was, because he believed this is the way that we're going to get our names out there. You know, we have to work harder. My rule was I was like, we shouldn't drink. Everybody in politics is drinking. They're drunk all the time. If we're passionate, we have to understand that it's a disadvantage. People are always made weaker. It doesn't make anybody stronger to be drunk after an event. And so we didn't drink. And we had a motto. Couple of mottos, but Charlie's was, we can always outwork our opponents. I can't tell you how many times we looked at each other and we said, we can outwork them. Everyone was bigger than us, but not working harder than us. It came really directly from Charlie. It was the thing that he said we could always control. And I totally agreed with that. Work ethic meant everything. I think it's very obvious to everyone. I was the culture. Charlie was the politics. Charlie needed a little bit more culture. I needed to learn the rules of politics. I mean, he could tell you every office in the White House and what this person does, things I'd never even heard before. I was just passionate about Black Lives Matter. I knew it was going to be harmful for Black America.
And I gotta stop in here. We know that Andrew Breitbart was the first one that I know of to say that politics is downstream from culture. So you can only change politics when the culture changes. And that's what I always said by, like, in New York, when Giuliani wanted to get in there, you had Dinkins in there who was just completely fucking up the city. And they would ask, is it bad enough yet? Is it bad enough? And apparently it wasn't, because Rudy lost the first time he ran. And then 4 years later, he won because it got bad enough. So you can't change politics until you first change the culture. And the Marxists understood that long before we did. And that's why they went for children. That's why they went for the musicians, for Hollywood, because those institutions could change culture. And that's why they did it.
Americans, and I wanted to share that message. And Charlie showed me how to do that in the best way possible. I learned very quickly with Charlie that politics breeds unnecessary enemies. It is incredibly
Amazing.
It's disheartening industry. You know, you're lucky if you have one friend. You're lucky if you have two friends. There are so many people that will test your character along the way. Like I said, I was a nobody. It was funny going through text messages yesterday, and I'm like, Charlie, my goal is to have 50,000 followers on Instagram. I think we can do it by the end of the year. And after he hired me, he had been working already really hard on doing this campus tour throughout California. He called it the Big Three: UCLA, we're going to do Stanford, we're going to do Berkeley. And there was somebody who was a lot bigger than me at the time who was going to be kind of the face of it, because, like I said, people were not going to buy tickets to hear me and Charlie Kirk speak. And he had someone that they definitely would hear speak. And for whatever reason, and this was just my luck, Charlie was pumping gas. He was inside of the gas station, and I'm sitting in the car, and I see this person, his phone is sitting in the car, and the messages are lighting up on the screen, and this individual saying, I don't want to do this event with that new girl you hired. Like, I don't want to share the stage with her, essentially. Just mean-spirited, no reason. I'm bigger than her. I should do this by myself. And then if she wants to come on and be an auxiliary, that's fine. But I don't want to share the stage with her, this newbie. I remember Charlie gets in the car, and he looks at the message, and he looks at me, and he knows I've looked at the message. I saw it, and I'm like, Charlie, I said, I have no idea like where this is going. Obviously, I understand that the sensible you doesn't want to lose this person on the ticket, that this means a lot to you and you've worked hard on it, but you're going to have to learn that you have to make the right decision and not the easy decision. And this is only going to work if we keep making the right decisions, you know? And I could just see the struggle within him. And then he did the right thing. He said, okay, if you don't want to do this event with this newbie Candace, then we're not going to do the event, and Candace and I will do it alone. And we did. We went at it alone. Actually, I think for that particular event, Dave Rubin hopped on, and the rest was future.
Isn't that great? Charlie made that decision. That's cool. In other words, the point of it was she was lucky to have him as a friend.
For 2 years straight, Charlie and I flew around the world together on very little sleep. We were always exhausted. I'm not kidding. We took hundreds of flights together. We slept in the crappiest hotel rooms. I mean, walls so paper thin. You just hear everything. And when you're in that capacity with someone 2 years straight, just traveling nonstop, you really get to know them. You really see them in every condition. You start bickering like an old married couple.
Yeah.
Charlie, this is not how you pack a suitcase, I say to him. Charlie, you can't just like put your dirty running shoes on top of your clean shirts, okay? You just can't do that. Charlie, you need to eat something, okay? You're running on fumes, you got to eat something. And this is not a full meal.
I love
back, forth. Charlie, you got to buy yourself some suits that fit. That conversation, I was like, Charlie, okay, I get it. You're like boy wonder. You got to buy some suits that fit. I wasn't the only one that was hammering him on that. It was also Don Jr. And eventually him, and I think it was actually him and Eric, they're like, Charlie, I know you're very frugal. We know that you're very aware that your salary comes from donors. He always wanted to be a really good steward of their capital. But eventually Don and Eric got him a gift certificate, I think it was for his birthday, to a fancy suit place to go get fitted. And the rest is future, right? It is so important for me to make sure that you guys understand how absolutely hilarious Charlie was. Charlie was hilarious, okay? He did not take himself too seriously. He was so good at doing imitations and accents. Any imitation, any accent, he was just on the money. And all we did was laugh. It's all you can do and laugh. People were just so crazy all the time.
See, that's what I love. Like, Charlie Kirk seemed like he was serious in what he wanted to do, like very serious. And he worked very, very hard. And yet he had a sense of humor. How many lefties do?
When I was reading through the chat today, I was just laughing with just tears in my eyes, thinking of the many road trips that we took, so many hours spent just talking trash to one another, making fun of one another. One of the best moments that I can think of, and there's so many to choose from, was we were driving through Colorado, and I put on a Kanye song, on my playlist, and Charlie goes, "Is this Jay-Z?" I almost made him pull over the vehicle. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Okay, I understand that you don't do culture, but like, come on, you don't know the difference between Jay-Z and Kanye. And he didn't. And I explained to him the difference. I was like, okay, you got to get into some Kanye West music. Next thing you know, Charlie's really getting into some Kanye West music. He's running 10 miles a day. He got really into running. And he's texting me about how great it is. Like, there's this text, Charlie. He's like, "Yes, it's my new favorite song." And he just loved it. Kanye's Power kind of became our theme song for the tour. I have no idea why, but that was our hype song before we went on stage. So you can only imagine when just a couple of months later, we've been listening to Kanye's old albums on repeat. Suddenly Kanye West tweets, "I love the way Candace Owens thinks."
Wow.
The excitement. Okay. We were certain that we had manifested it. We were 100%. We manifested this by listening to Power on repeat. Actually, I found a clip of us backstage on that day when that tweet happened, and we were doing what I used to refer to as like the Charlie dance. Here it is. You don't understand like the divinity of him tweeting that. Like,
I'm living in that
Charlie
21st
dance.
century. There's something meaning to it.
That's awesome.
Era of Kanye. I can't even explain it because you were.
All right, that was good. I like that. All right. Next story. Well, we already know we got the guy, but yeah, let's do this one. Hang on. Here we go. Assassinations. This is from the Federalist. It's an awesome, awesome website. And Mark writes for them, the guy that we interview all the time. Assassinations will continue until the GOP creates real consequences for leftist violence. Charlie Kirk, a generational voice of the conservative movement, was assassinated Wednesday while hosting one of his famous campus discussion events. It's amazing. All he did was said, you know what? I'm going to give you a microphone. And I'm going to let you say whatever you want. There's no rules. You do what you want. And then we'll have a discussion. He used to put his mic down so that people knew he's going to let me talk, right? And they fucking shot him. We still don't know the identity of the shooter. Well, we do now. But that doesn't mean we don't know who was responsible. Radical leftists bear great blame for engaging in inflammatory rhetoric, damn right, that can only be described as assassination prep. It's stochastic terrorism. And Republicans bear responsibility, too, for letting it come to this. Before Kirk died at the hands of the assassin, leftist radicals tried to kill Representative Scalise, President Donald Trump, twice, now 3 times. There was a woman in New York that was she went down to D.C. to kill him. Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh. Statements of condemnation and condolence were issued, but that was it. And they had to do it to keep their jobs in Congress. They had to do it. Mike Cernovich, he's big on X, put it this way, quote, the weakness of the GOP led us to this moment. A mass shooter attempted to murder dozens of Republican Congress members. Few people even know this happened. Republicans just took it, as they always do. And now Charlie Kirk is dead. Recognize what time it is or resign. Bam. Bam. That is exactly right. We have to wake the fuck up because they're hunting us now. They're hunting conservatives. The leftists, because think about it, they're not hunting you and me like I'm a nobody, right? But imagine if they do it enough, and then any crazy leftist goes, do you know a guy with a MAGA hat? Shoots him in the head. It could happen. It could actually happen if we allow this shit to go. We're not going to allow it now. The leftists who support this violence, from elected Democrats to talking heads to the foot soldiers who cheer when someone like Kirk is murdered, have been conditioned to know their camp will suffer no real consequences when their violent world class creates assassins who target conservatives. They've watched Republicans cave on every front, from culture to speech, elections, and even physical violence. This is why Trump said that he's getting the DOJ to look at the people on MSNBC and CNN because of the stochastic terrorism. You know, Donald Trump is Hitler. Donald Trump is a fascist. Donald Trump is actually trying to end our democracy as we know it. Donald Trump is stealing money. I mean, all that shit. You're a lunatic, you loony leftist. You're going to sit back and you're going to go, God damn, we got to take this motherfucker out, right? Now think about this too. I heard somebody say this earlier, and I was like, yeah, exactly. Charlie Kirk, who I would say there isn't a conservative alive who didn't know who he was, okay, or who didn't love watching him interact with people, right? He was fucking murdered in front of his family, and yet there was not one riot. There was not one car set on fire or overturned. There was no building set on fire. There was no beating the living shit out of the opposition, right? No toppling statues. No, we didn't loot, gas stations and jewelry stores and Nike shops. We didn't do any of that shit. And why? Because we're not the fucking animals here. Go back to August 2012 when 29-year-old Floyd Lee Corkins shot a security guard at the Family Research Council in Washington, D.C. According to the Department of Justice, Corkins targeted the Family Research Council because it recognized that marriage is between a man and a woman. These, Jake got into it earlier. They believe that speech is physical assault. That's what these knuckleheads believe. Oh my God, I heard you say that. I'm in such pain. I mean, think about it. These fucking people are nuts. After being subdued, Corkins said, I don't like these people, and I don't like what they stand for, so you killed them. Okay. Republicans blame the shooting on reckless rhetoric, but did nothing else to deter such rhetoric. That's right. 5 years later, Scalise was nearly assassinated by a deranged Bernie Sanders supporter. The Bernie Sanders supporter, Bernie Sanders came out and said, the Republicans want to take away your Medicare, right? For $21, right? And this asshole believed it, and he goes and shoots up the baseball diamond. 5 years after that, a radical leftist tried to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And the reason why is because they thought that he was going to end Roe v. Wade. And so they wanted him out. That's why. 2 years after that, leftists tried to murder Trump during a campaign rally on July 13, 2024, Butler, PA. 2 months later, authorities foiled a second assassination attempt against the president. He's in court. He was in court today, I believe. Ryan Ralph, whatever. Republicans condemned each of these attacks, but failed to go after the poisonous root of such violence. And it's true, guys. It's because the fucking left, their media types, the hacks, they are so good at manipulating a situation that people just believe them. Yeah, you know what? He brought it on. Right? But I think that's changing. I think it is, because more and more people are seeing this shit. And plus, they got people like us here. We're talking about it. Right? More people are talking about it in the condition that it should be, with truth. Right? Each assassin was emboldened by a leftist culture that dehumanizes conservatives and openly fantasizes about silencing us by any means necessary. Stochastic terrorism. He's a Nazi. Wednesday night, Trump recorded an address from the Oval Office in which he promised, "My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it." And he means it. I have no doubt MSNBC and CNN, you know what? The First Amendment. They do not have the First Amendment to do stochastic terrorism. They don't have the First Amendment. Let me read it to you. They don't have the right to do that. They get sued all the time, too. But let me see. Stochastic terrorism. Ready? Stochastic terrorism describes how influential figures use heated, hateful, or dehumanizing rhetoric against a group or individual, increasing the statistical probability of unpredictable acts of violence by ideological aligned individuals without explicitly calling for such facts. The speakers remain legally insulated from accountability due to the rhetoric's implicit nature and First Amendment protections against incitement. This phenomenon poses a significant security risk amplified by social media, and it can incite violence that, while not explicitly called for, becomes a foreseeable outcome of the inflammatory discourse. That's what I'm talking about. Well, we know. We know the rest. We don't have to read it. We know the rest. Jade, what do you think?
About what?
What I just read.
Yeah,
about the stochastic terrorism.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not going to stop.
The thing is, again, that none of this is coincidental. The fact is, we haven't had two parties in this country for a very, very long time.
No, don't.
It's been the uniparty, and most of the Republicans have no more interest in cleaning the swamp out than do the Democrats.
Right.
And they do all kinds of machinations to hide their complicity. Recently, there was a call for certain reforms on firearms, and they got it into the bill, and then the Senate parliamentarian said, no, these sections can't be included because this does not have anything to do with taxation. Well, the thing is that what they were talking about is the National Firearms Act, which is defined as taxes.
Right.
So, but here's the thing. The parliamentarian said, no, you can't have that in there. What did everybody do? There were calls, oh, no, you got to fire the parliamentarian. That's obviously wrong. No, they didn't fire the parliamentarian. You know why? Because now they can go back to their constituents. They didn't want to vote for that.
Right.
But they can go back to their constituents and say, oh, it's not my fault. I would have voted for it. But, you know, that parliamentarian, you couldn't do it.
They're scumbags.
And they could have overruled her. They could have fired her. I'm a little disappointed that J.D. Vance didn't get in there and just fire her out of a rocket.
Right. Oh, I know.
But they're all in it. And They just didn't want to have to go back to their constituents. They weren't going to vote for it. And so it's all the same. They're all mired in the same mud.
Right. Here, let's do this one. Here are some of the heinous members of the professional class who cheered Charlie Kirk's death. Alrighty? They're hordes of mortar. They're the hordes of mortar. That's all that can be said about these people, many of whom teach your children, manage your health care, and maintain law and order. The list goes on. We have doctors, veterinarians, wealth managers, and nurses cheering the death of Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, who was assassinated at Utah Valley University on Wednesday. And yes, some members of the media are in this ungodly horde of cretins. Is it cretins? The legions of unhinged progressives that infest the professional classes are startling, but also representative of the changes within the Democratic Party base, which has become whiter, wealthier, snobbier, and more insane. This is Libs of TikTok. Nicole Gallagher Kiner, a public DA. She's a district freaking attorney in Montana, where men are men and women are glad of it, reportedly made multiple posts attacking Charlie Kirk after he was assassinated and claimed he deserved to die. She needs to resign. Here's what she wrote. Is that her? I think so. Kiner, not her. Anyway, we got this one. Charlie Kirk was arrogant enough to overlook the flaw in his thinking. This is what I'm talking about. The lib nuts are twisting everything Charlie said. If shooting deaths are an acceptable sacrifice, he never said that, to keep the Second Amendment rights, he overlooked the fact that this meant his death was also acceptable. But she twisted what he said. His arrogance kept him from realizing that. That's not to say I believe he should have been killed. Oh, no, but he deserved it. I don't think he should have been killed, but he deserved it. That's what she just said in front of his wife and children. But I definitely feel like Charlie Kirk literally died on the hill he built. Now, here's the problem with that. Charlie Kirk said that what they quote is, and unfortunately, those murders are necessary to keep the Second Amendment. Now, that's what he said. What he said prior to that, what he said prior to that was, the problem we have here is the liberals are trying to take away your Second Amendment rights to protect yourself. And in many blue cities, when you don't have the right to even carry a firearm, people are dying in those cities. And I'm paraphrasing, right? So he said, so unfortunately, those deaths can be used to say we really need a Second Amendment. Now, that's what he said. But they're making it look like he said that it's an acceptable sacrifice to keep our Second Amendment. That's not what he said. He was the entire time he was talking about how horrible it was that people had to die because a fucking Democrat said you can't protect yourself, who has all the police protection in the world themselves at our dime. Go ahead. Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say one important thing to keep in mind here is that, because people are going to say free speech. Well, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. I'm also a First Amendment absolutist. I think these people have the right to say these horrible things. However, what you say has consequences. So the fact is, if you say horrible things like this, you can get fired. So yeah, I support your right to say them. I also support the right, like, I don't have to listen. And I support that there are consequences to what people say and do.
Right. Here we go. Let's move on. Margot Richardson, a Junto wealth manager in Norristown, PA, which is a 12-minute drive from where I am, celebrates the killing of Charlie Kirk. The self-described queer activist suggests, I might have to visit her and give her a piece of my mind. The self-described queer activist suggests the world would be better if more people who think like him are taken out. Can you believe this shit? Here's what she wrote. Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. I would love to get one of these people and go, I stop right there. How was he a Nazi? How was he a Nazi? And then I love when I freak these people out because they hear it for the first time and I'll say, do you know a Nazi was a left-winger? No, they were right-wing fascists. No, they were left-wing fascists. Just like Joe Biden. You know, they were left-wing fascists. It's in the fucking name. The word socialist is in the term Nazi, right? They governed like socialists. They treated business like socialists, right? They murdered like socialists. They were in competition with the commies. In fact, back in the day, during their time, the contemporary authors of their day came up with a term called the communazi. A lot of people don't know that because why teach it, right? Makes them look bad. But it was called the communazi because they knew that Herbert Hoover, president in the United States, he wrote in a book, The Challenge to Liberty. I know all this from memory. I don't know how. But he wrote in the book, The Challenge to Liberty, he said that whatever the difference between the communists and the Nazis, he said they all have the same goals. They're strange bedfellows because they do have the same goal. It was collectivism. That was the beginning of it. They were both collectivists. And they go, well, Hitler killed a lot of commies. Yeah, because everybody, all these left-wing groups were vying to be at the top of the socialist list. So he murdered his competition. They didn't.
Well, I mean, he murdered within his own people when the SA was getting too strong, and he had the SS go out and kill them all.
Yep. Yeah. Here we go. So she writes, Charlie Kirk was a Nazi who wanted a brutal world with anyone who was considered an other dead. Charlie Kirk never even would have dreamed of saying something like that. She should lose her fucking job. Charlie Kirk was okay with our children being killed at schools in order to keep our Second Amendment. Charlie Kirk actually went around saying, you like what I do every time this comes up. You got to get rid of your stupid fucking gun-free school zone laws because you're making the children in school sitting ducks. Because though a shooter who wants to get the most targets he can may be insane, he's not stupid. When he knows there's not going to be an adult inside the entire building with a handgun that could shoot back at him, that's where he's going to go. But you think Charlie Kirk would ever even utter something like that? This woman is an idiot. So this world is safer without him in it. If you're teaching your children to be like Charlie Kirk, reevaluate that. Nah. All right, so now we have bad hombre. Meet Daniel K. Mundell. That's a guy. Holy crap. Oh, Danielle. Sorry, I read Daniel. She works with disabled patients at Imagine the Possibilities in DeWitt, Iowa. Her words, I hope it was an accurate shot. If nothing else, I hope he can't talk anymore. Holy mackerel. I hope it's an accurate shot. Oh, good Lord. Here we go. I'm disturbed by a post from an Oskaloosa teacher celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk and calling him a Nazi. Cheering political violence is always wrong and should never be done. That's exactly right. I will be contacting the super. I'll bet they beat the shit out of him. But let's see what else there is.
Apparently these people are getting fired though, and good for it.
Yeah, that's what I hear. They're getting, I think I got a story on that. So Christopher Rispoli, the woke owner of Gentle Care Animal Hospital in Edmond, Oklahoma. I hope he goes out of business because of this. Like, would you want to take your pet there after what I'm about to read? All right. On social media, suggested on social media that people should be inspired to kill more people like Charlie Kirk. He is only the first. All right. He says, I'll bring it up. He says, Charlie Kirk, right-wing stupid fuck MAGA activist, shot unalived, whatever, on Utah campus. He is only the first. Could we actually be getting smart and culling the sick ones? Oh gosh, I want to offer his family my thoughts and prayers. See, thoughts and prayers is something that the libnuts make fun of people, conservatives, when they say we give our thoughts and prayers, because they don't understand what thoughts and prayers means. They think that when we say, you have our thoughts and prayers, they think that we're saying that this little man that sits in the clouds is going to come down and is going to heal you and bring your person back. That's not what the fuck it means. It means, look, we know you're going through some shit right now, but see how they get me angry? We know you're going through some shit right now, and you got a lot of people thinking about you, a lot of people giving a shit. And so cheer up, because someday you'll get over the pain, but we're going to make it easier for you. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. That's what it means. Doesn't mean, well, we think God is going to bring your child back from the dead, He says he got the day he deserved. Nurse with pronouns in bio at Henry Ford Health. That's a guy. Okay. Charlie Kirk died the way he lived. Filling my timeline with Charlie Kirk's posts. Jesus, what a dick. Austin Scroff. Sounds more like scrotum. Austin Scrotum, a teacher at Lake Norman Charter School in Huntersville, North Carolina, reportedly shared photos on Facebook mocking Charlie Kirk, according to a tipster. Go straight to hell, asshole. He apparently deleted the post after. Yeah, of course he did. Meet Anthony Anthony Gonorrhea. He claims to work at Phoenix Children's Hospital as a medical laboratory scientist. He spent yesterday celebrating Kirk's murder on social media, one by one into the light. Fuck Trump. Yeah, exactly. These people are just despicable. Just living my best life, medical labs. Okay. Quote, they were clearly aiming for his giant forehead and missed. There you go. Meet Jesse McKinnon, reportedly an AP U.S. History and Honors Economics high school teacher in Oakland, California, who also claims to have written curriculum from scratch. Here are his alleged posts, and now deleted. They were clearly aiming for the giant forehead, amateur, in my humble opinion. I've taught men to be honest and intellectual. They say I build a career, how tranny takes hold, yada yada. I'm not gonna read that. You know, Nazi was coined as a slur for the National Socialist Party and was then picked up by the foreign press. The party itself, yeah, the Jews did it. The party itself never adopted it, and Hitler never used it. So I think it's entirely fair to use the term Nazi to describe white supremacist fascists like Charlie Kirk. Now, I would go to this guy and say, look, you claim to be a historian, honors economics for a year. Okay, dickhead. Tell me how Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. See, that's how we have to start talking to people. Oh, Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. Really? Did he kill a bunch of Jews? Like, what did he do? Well, he said that. Yeah. Say anything you want. That doesn't make you a Nazi. What did he do that makes him a Nazi? And don't give up on it. Well, he did that. Well, actually, that doesn't make him a Nazi. What? Do you even know what a Nazi is? A Nazi's a left-winger. He was not a left-winger. That drives him up a freaking wall. It just does. So let's see. We'll do one more. Prominent doctor in Albuquerque, New Mexico, says Charlie deserved to die. This is a doctor, and calls the murder just. Meet Dr. John R. Virgil, of course. He is a managing partner at JRV Medical Group and a board-certified physician. Here are his public Facebook posts about Charlie's murder. See, these people, this guy's a fucking doctor, and he feels comfortable enough to post this publicly. Right? If you're looking for sympathy from me over the death of a maggot, it's between shit and syphilis in the diary, in the dictionary. Jesus Christ. I'll probably lose friends over this, but besides Trump, I can't think of a more deserving person to get just karma. Jesus. The rest are all just as despicable. These people.
They're all the same.
We've never, ever seen conservatives do it. Like sometimes we'll do memes if they fight back and say stupid shit, right? But we have never seen conservatives on a mass scale like complain about anybody. Like in that way, in that terrible way. They'll say, yeah, well, you said he was a communist. Well, he was a communist, but that's not wrong. You know? Elon's place, anti-Kirk discussions between, cool. Thank you, Don. That's what we got. That's what keeps me going with anyone with cruel thoughts. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We can hope. Yeah, Charlie was real, spoke with facts and compassion. That's who Charlie was. You're absolutely right. It still shocks me that they took him out. It really does. Dead regaining footing. FBI shows the assassin. We won't do that. Video. Yeah, I think you should see this. It's kind of boring, but stay with me.
I have one question before you start that.
Sure.
At one point, there was a picture of I think it was this same guy, basically dressed as a woman looking very feminine. Is this the same guy, or was that just a... No, it's a different guy.
There was another guy they had that had a bullhorn, and I thought it was him. I posted about it, and it wasn't him. There was a guy that when I watched that episode And it was where Charlie was doing this thing at a college campus, and people would get in line and they'd get the mic. And this guy had a bullhorn, and he was like yelling stuff. And Charlie went. He said to the guy who was being polite with him, the liberal, and he goes, "I'm sorry. Can you hold a second because I got to take care of this?" He goes, "All right, come on up to the mic." And the guy comes up to the mic and goes, and he goes, "Look, we have microphones, okay?" So the guy puts it down. Okay, fine. The guy was the biggest asshole I've ever seen. And Charlie sat there, put the mic down, and he picked the mic up. We have a microphone. So Charlie destroyed him. But he's like, he's just a fucking liar. He can't. And he goes, no. He goes, you're just not listening. He goes, now, 3 times you said the F-bomb. And he goes, so what? I got free speech. And he goes, yeah, but decency. Do you know there are 10-year-olds running around here? He goes, we've seen them. They're here. He goes, I don't give a fuck. That's all you needed to know. They don't give a fuck that a 10-year-old's around. So, yeah, this is just, I'm not going to read it, but this is JD, because he was really good friends. So sad. No, it's the military is doing. Wife dead. No. I think that's his parents. He was so young, his parents are still around. It's very sad. It's just really sad, dude. I know. How many people here saw the actual video of the hit when it was the up close one? I saw that, and I swear to God, I will never be the same again. When I saw it, it was
Any of the videos that they have up now, they blur the whole thing out.
Sanitize it, yeah. But I saw it, and I swear to God, I will never. Yeah, because I think I sent it to you. Sorry.
Yeah, you did send that one to me, and I know
I sent it to Pam too. I think I sent
when I first saw
it's awful.
that video, and he goes back like this, kind of slumps a little bit, and then over like 2 seconds, this gush of blood comes all the way down. And
started shooting out, and I looked at it and went, "There's no way he survived that."
Well, what did I say to you when we were chatting about it?
Yeah. I was like, "There's no way he's." And you were the doctor, so I needed.
I just don't see it. Although apparently they took him in and did surgery, so I guess he was kind of there when they got him to the hospital.
Yeah,
but
no, he wasn't. He was dead. He was dead. They kept saying, they admitted it. They kept saying he's in critical condition because they were trying to find his wife.
Yeah, but I mean, I suspect that's correct. Is that they wanted to get the family in before they made the final announcement.
Right.
But they said at one point that he underwent surgery, which I don't know. Maybe they lied.
I don't know. They might have bullshit because they wanted, because everybody's going to believe, well, you need surgery. It's been a couple of hours now. I think they made it up and that was for the family's sake, to let them until they got him, because they're listening, probably trying to get to the hospital. They wanted to have some hope, because you don't do that to people. And I think it was a very humane thing to do. But did you notice that he's getting military honors?
I did.
Those are military guys that were pallbearers. That's interesting.
And he's getting the presidential
medal.
Medal.
Freedom. Yeah.
Posthumously.
And everybody's bitching about that too.
We didn't deserve it. Oh, shove it where the sun doesn't shine, okay?
Fucking crazy.
Take your opinion and put it somewhere where I don't get to see it.
Right. Here's one. I really like Sage Steele. I don't know if you know who she is, but we did a story about her one time. But I really like her. She's a sports person. Sage Steele calls on pro sports leagues to honor Charlie Kirk like they did George Floyd. Gotta love it. Here we go. She's a beautiful girl, too. For an older woman. All right. Hold on. way to turn it up. Yeah. Yep.
You got a problem? Nothing's playing.
Oh, really? Oh. Shit, I'm sorry. I did it again. I'll start it over. I didn't share the tab. Sorry about that, guys. Such an idiot.
I still have no idea what the right words are right now to describe what has happened today to, in my opinion, one of the greatest Americans ever. You can disagree with me on that, but I've said it for the last couple of years that I saw the difference Charlie Kirk was making in going around to college campuses to talk to the youth, to talk to the future of America,
Yeah.
to have a conversation, which is what so many people are unwilling and are afraid to do. But
Absolutely.
Charlie wasn't. And he went around these college campuses and he let kids speak, let them say what was on their mind, give their opinion, and then he gave his
Yep.
with facts
And that's
as
it.
well. He did what so many people refuse to do. He is the reason why my kids decided they wanted to have an interest in politics and at least be educated. Most importantly, he was such a man of God. Charlie Kirk is one of the reasons that I'm no longer afraid to wear this. I didn't for such a long time, and he gave me the courage to do so. That's what he led with, his faith in God, his love for his wife, his love for his children, and that was his goal, to make this country a better place for his kids and yours and mine. I am heartbroken, I am devastated, and I am livid. What they want is for us to have fear and to go hide because of things like this. And maybe in some ways, I don't know, maybe we should. We have to do things differently, certainly.
That's why I like her.
Charlie knew the risk. Every day, he had security detail with him. And sometimes nothing can protect us from evil. I know this too, though. Charlie would not want us to go hide and to be quiet and to run away from the evil, from the people that hate us, who happen to be the same people who preach about diversity of thought and tolerance.
Yeah.
And look, they kill him because they don't like his opinions. And they don't like the fact that he was winning.
Right.
Charlie Kirk already won. It is our loss and the world's loss today. But man, God's plan for Charlie, look what he did in 31 short years. Thank you, Charlie Kirk, for everything, for giving up your life for us. And Erica, you have millions praying for you. I love you. We love you. And guess what? We're not going away. We're going to be here for Charlie.
That's right. Now, that's why I like her a lot. She's a classy woman. She was fired from ESPN because there were certain things she wouldn't do that they told her she had to do. It was like, I forget what the issue was. They wanted her to say certain things that were not true. And she was like, I'm not doing it. And they were like, look, if you don't do it, we're going to have to, wada, Yeah, it was evil.
Yeah. Did you see Cenk Uygur's post on this?
Yes, I want to find that. I might have it up here. I want to play that.
I was going to say we should play. Who would ever think?
Well,
go back.
Yeah,
who would ever think? Go back a few years.
Right.
Who would think?
I'm going to find it.
Yeah, you keep talking over me.
Yeah. Do I? Really? I'm sorry.
Can I go now?
Yes.
Who would have ever thought that Cenk Uygur would be the example of the moderate, reasonable leftist? I mean, I think like a lot of us, I don't think he's moved his position. I think the left has moved around him. Just like Elon Musk described how it left him behind.
Right.
But
Cenk Uygur.
If you could find that, I think we should play that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it now. It was, you're right. It was very good. It was very good.
I mean, basically he said, hey, there were many times I disagreed with Charlie Kirk, but my God, we can't do this. We can't have this. This is horrible. This is unacceptable. And anybody who thinks that anything less is not my people.
Yeah, I found it. I'm gonna.
Oh, you did find it?
Yeah, I found it. I gotta stop and start it again, but I'm gonna bring it up. This is really good, guys. Listen to this. It's chunk Ugar. I call him chunk yogurt most of the time, but
I've got.
Charlie Kirk has been shot. He was in Utah giving a speech at a college. And unfortunately, I just found out that he's passed away. It is beyond tragic. It's disgusting. It's terrible. It's the worst thing that has happened in American media and politics in a long time. So this violence is not the answer. It is the very worst possible answer. We don't know who did it. And if some of you might have seen an older guy getting dragged away by the police, it turns out they released him. He's not the guy. So they haven't caught the guy yet, but I can't believe he passed away. I can't believe it. So he's gone. And violence is surrender. It's saying that you can't win in the battlefield of ideas.
Well,
what a terrible, terrible message to send. And that you have to be barbaric and you have to be violent and you have to be a savage and you have to just shut that person down physically because you can't defeat him with your ideas. What a cowardly form of surrender. What a disgusting thing to do. How deeply immoral. This is a terrible, terrible day. Because so not only do I know Charlie, and you could say, hey, he said bad things in the past. Who cares? That's not the point today, okay? It doesn't matter what people said. You never do violence. Never. That's the exact opposite of being a progressive. It makes no sense at all. We're against violence. If you do violence, you're not one of us. You're disgusting, you're immoral, and you're deeply counterproductive. Anytime one side does violence, it makes everyone else hate them, rightfully so. So none of our side should ever do that. Plus, he's a human being. I met him and his wife behind the scenes, etc. They're human beings, no matter how much we agree or disagree with anyone. This is just terrible. Guys, this is going to lead to worse and worse violence. I hope to God it doesn't. I hope that America regains its senses and gets back to peace and civility. But this is not the way. This is terrible. I feel awful for Charlie's family, obviously for Charlie. Stop all of the violence. This is the problem. This is not the way to solve it. So it's an absolutely tragic day, and my heart goes out to his entire family. I'm so sorry that this happened to anyone. I just can't believe it. All right, guys. Please, everyone, nothing but good thoughts and prayers for Charlie's family.
Well, people didn't listen to you. Your people, your progressives, didn't listen to you. That was
that's interesting that he would be the example of the reasonable moderate left.
What's up, Curious True? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like Colonel. At first when I watched it, I was like, all right, but then as I continued, he was sincere. He really was.
Yeah,
and
I think he was.
There was a time when he debated on the show. He debated Tucker Carlson. Did you see that? And he was actually civil. And I think it was one. I think it was one because he knew Tucker is an intellectual, and could destroy him if he made a mistake. But when he answered questions, I was like, wow, he's not that far off from what conservatives think. He's just wacky with. We were talking about economics. I was like, he's wrong, but he's not like crazy wrong. He doesn't believe in universal basic income. He doesn't believe in anything like that. I think he went to Wharton. Yeah, I think he graduated from Wharton, which is pretty good. That's true. What's up, Logan? Haven't seen you before. Welcome. Yeah, but
this is the first time that I've actually agreed with Cenk Uygur.
Me too.
And what he said is correct. He says this is not how we do it. This is desperation.
Yeah, we don't do it this way.
When you do this, you've lost. You've lost. You've already lost.
All right, New York Post. Let's go in. the next one. So, New York Post, Trump live updates. Marine ordered off recruiting duty over post celebrating Charlie Kirk assassination. Another racist man popped, he said. Here we go. Now, that's an hour and 51 minutes. Are you kidding me? So we don't even have to read this. This coincides with what we talked about earlier when Robyn was here. And it was people like I'll say it again. People 4 or 5 years ago, the wrong people were being arrested. You know, like I cited the McCluskeys in Missouri, where they lived in a private gated community, and the gate was broken by the St. George Floyd animals who broke in, and they just came out with an AK-47, and she had a pistol, and they stopped and like, get off our property. Well, the DA arrests them, and no one that actually did breaking and entering. They literally, it was a lock gate. They broke it open just to storm in. So that's what we had to deal with. If you shot someone, well, even today in many states, if you shoot someone and it's a damn good shoot, you could still be charged with a crime. What the hell happened to the Second Amendment? You could still be charged with a crime. So not only that, in many states, you can be charged with a crime, get off with a criminal charge, and they can still charge you civilly. They can sue you for it. The one thing that Colorado does have that's nice is that's the land of the nuts.
Yeah, well, no, we are nuts, but we have castle doctrine.
That's up 40.
And if you are acquitted of a criminal charge, you cannot be sued. You're proof against. They can't come after you that way.
Okay. Said RSBN. Let's look at that. Right Side Broadcasting is doing. Erica's talking. Let me see. Yeah, there it is.
The rest of your country in your box. Thank you.
Oh, great. Yeah, well, we can't hear it. Wow.
Truly an extraordinary evening as we close the night with America the Beautiful. Started with Amazing Grace initially, both incredible songs that honor America and honor our foundational principles.
Right. See, that's the difference between us and the left. They probably left that area cleaner than it was when they came.
Yep.
Right? Yet the left, the shit that they do at those things. I'm surprised Antifa didn't come in and try to beat the shit out of people because they had a prayer.
Well, I'm thinking that Antifa might be rethinking some of their.
I don't know about that. If you've read some of the things that they're putting online, I don't know.
I think the next time that they show up in a group like that, they're going to start going down.
Well, they did. You ever hear that? Try that in a small town song. They tried that in a small town, got their asses kicked.
Yeah, I think they're going to
get their asses kicked through it. They ran. We saw them. The video showed them running through a gas station to get the hell away, and they had the bats and all that. And the guys came out with guns, like young guys, and they had their own bats. They're like, get the fuck out of here! It was great to see because somebody finally stood up to those a-holes. They were not going to conquer the South. You know, as our friend Leanne says, in the South, you try to pull shit like that. One guy will shoot you, and then someone will come out with a grill. Someone comes out with the meat. Someone comes out with the drink and the potato salad, and then you just sit there and watch them bleed out while you're having a little thing. You know, that's what they do down there, right? Especially
you wait for the cops to show up, and you offer them a beer.
That's cool, man. In Auburn, did you hear this? Said they also had a billboard up with Charlie on it in remembrance in Auburn. That's cool. I was talking about in Colorado, I was talking about the politicians. The Democrats are just out of their fucking minds there. And it started, I think it started, but you would know better, Jay, when they tried to get Trump removed from the ballot because they misunderstood the insurrection clause in the 14th Amendment. And plus, he was never charged with insurrection. So
yeah, no, they didn't misunderstand it. They didn't misunderstand it at all. They just knew that they had the courts in their pocket and Jenna Griswold, who is the attorney general here, and they knew it was a fait accompli, and they just hoped that they could drag it out long enough that it would keep him off the ballot. And we're
right.
When we moved here in 1996, it was a red state. Shortly thereafter, it became became kind of a purple state. And as soon as the Democrats got into power, they started their shenanigans, including things like universal mail-in balloting.
Yep.
And
Yep.
And there is so much around that.
Just cheat so bad.
I'm not going to say anything that I can't prove, but I'm going to leave it to your imagination.
Yeah.
The Democrats have manipulated this.
That's right, Jimmy.
But like I was saying, one thing we do have in Colorado is castle doctrine.
40, I'll give her your email. Go ahead.
One thing we do have in Colorado is castle doctrine. So if somebody is breaking into your house and committing a felony, the presumption is, now it is a rebuttable presumption, but the presumption is that you are justifiable in using lethal force against that individual.
Wow.
And they can't sue you civilly in Colorado. That's part of it. I'm sure they would love to get rid of that, but it's just like we've got something called TABOR here, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights.
Right.
And the Democrats have been trying to overturn that for 20 years.
Oh, of course. They want your fucking money. They want the money. Show me the money.
Every year or two, it's on the ballot. It's a ballot initiative, and it gets voted down, and they get more and more pissed off. But they're limited on how much tax they can take.
Cool. Here we go. This is what we were talking about all night. Liberals getting fired left and right after celebrating Charlie Kirk assassination. So the killing of Charlie Kirk was met by an outpouring of cries against political violence, but some of Kirk's detractors expressed the opposite. Satisfaction, relief, cheers. All right, let's just go down. So, yeah, this asshole.
Oh, we don't want to give him any air.
Well, you got to hear it.
Especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech.
He never used hate speech in his life.
They're sort of aimed at certain groups. And
No, there was no hate speech aimed at any group.
I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to
Voting for a Democrat. Yeah, that's all we need to know.
Yeah, blame the victim.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the next
It was Charlie's fault.
Are there any others here that I can play? No. Well, let me bring it back in because there are a couple that you got to see. See, I'm showing everything now because I'm not cutting them any breaks anymore. Fuck them. So let's see. Statement from MSNBC President Rebecca Cutler. During our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd, I think they fired him, made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for his statements. There is no place for violence in... Joe Moynihan is going to take us out there. Okay. There is no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. I think, look at this. Why? Kirk was known for saying things that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. But not about somebody being shot and murdered. Dumbass. What a dumb.
Okay. So even that, he was known for saying things.
Yeah, for saying things. You can't say things. Of course, we can say whatever fuck we want, but you can't say things.
So saying the wrong thing is now a capital offense.
You're welcome, sweetie pie. Let's see. I don't understand how the average American can't see the writing on the wall. Yeah, dude. We're talking about the woke mind virus. I should play my TDS cure again. I'll tell you what, when I go on forums and I write, and I just, the TDS they suffer from, I just put this thing out there and I just say, I hope this helps. Is it called A Cure for Your TDS? Let's see, where is it? There it is. Let me go in. Let me stop it. All right, here we go. We're gonna play this again. I love this. I did this a couple years ago, actually. Here we go.
Are you experiencing uncontrollable fast eye blinking, light palsy, stammering and overbearing snobbery every time you hear the words, "Make America Great Again"? Are your conversations at dinner turning into debates? Do family gatherings feel like congressional hearings? Do you find yourself engaging in heated conversations with your 6 cats about political policies? Have you been found wild-eyed, naked, frothing at the mouth, and writhing on the floor? Have your friends described blackouts you suffered where you kept staring into space, repeating things like Russian collusion, "He is Hitler," and "Joy Reid was right"? If you said yes to any of these, then you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. But don't worry, introducing Polycalm, the revolutionary new treatment designed to bring peace back to your household. Crafted by top scientists at RPW Media with a sense of humor and a pinch of irony, Polycalm is clinically proven to reduce symptoms of TDS levels 1 through 5. That's right, no more sudden outbursts at family dinners or knee-jerk unfriending people on social media. No more yelling at people for going into a Walmart through the exit door instead of the welcome side. Polycalm might cause sudden side effects such as extreme agreeableness, an unusual interest in gardening, and a sudden urge to discuss the weather. If you find yourself agreeing to a family game night, consult your recreational therapist immediately. Other side effects include an increased sense of humor, a sudden understanding of different perspectives, and in rare cases, an uncontrollable urge to watch Fox News. Polycalm. Because sometimes we all need a little help to stay sane in a world that seems a bit crazy. Available wherever laughter and open conversations are found. Polycalm is not available in stores and doesn't actually exist. But hey, wouldn't it be great if it did? Until then, liberals remember a little laughter and love of country can go a long way. And stop being a dick. Fact checkers. Polycalm is not a real medication. We're just screwing around. Polycalm is intended for humorous purposes only. Always seek professional advice for serious medical conditions like Trump derangement syndrome.
Just relax, be free of.
Yeah, it's still funny. It was funnier the first time I saw it, but it's still funny.
Yeah, it's still funny because that shit's still going on.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's still going on, man.
Yeah, the only thing we need something for the higher levels of TDS now.
You're a Karen, right, Pam? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I know. We need one for the higher levels because they're reaching 9.
Oh, no. We're up to 11. We're up to 11.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
Who was it I was talking to you about? Was it last week or the week before? Who were we talking about? And I said, oh, that's 11. That's an 11.
Yeah.
And you agreed with me. I forget who it was now.
I forget too.
They're also very forgettable.
Yeah, I know. This is Greg Gutfeld. You woke us the fuck up over Charlie Kirk. Greg Gutfeld goes off on Charlie Kirk assassination. Let me see. Is there a video? Or what? Yeah, there is. Let's see. Here we go. Wait a minute. Yeah, you woke us the fuck up. This is great. So hold on. Let's go here.
Yeah, I know that it's somewhat object of mockery to say thoughts and prayers, but thoughts and prayers for his family. And they need it from all of us. And Jesse's right. If they can do this, they are capable of anything. I think that was the message. I believe that was the message.
That was a message.
It's really hard to radicalize Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're not the radical type. But if you thought that you were going to shut a movement down, you're going to get a rude awakening. You woke us the fuck up.
He said that right on Fox. You gotta love it. And he won't be punished for it either, unless Paul Ryan, that pussy, unless he gets involved. Let's see, man, the dirty stew. Shush! She shushed me. You all saw it. All right, Fauci. That's a good one. Dr. Fauci is being called back before Congress after his request to delete government emails uncovered by Senator Rand Paul. You imagine this shit? Yeah, fuck you. Here we go. Dr. Anthony Fauci has been asked to return to Congress to answer questions about emails uncovered by Senator Rand Paul, who's had a real stickler for him lying, showing the former White House COVID-19 czar asking colleagues to delete messages according to copies obtained by the Post. Now, why would he do that? You know why? Because he's not such a smug a-hole anymore, because Trump said, no, those pardons were done by AutoPen. Guess what? They don't count. Fauci, who helmed the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious and NIAID for decades, in 2 email chains, asked other public health officials, including the then National Institutes of Health Director Dr. Francis Collins, to send his emails to the trash bin after reading them. One of the communications from February 20, that by the way, that's a felony to do it. It's a felony to ask, and it's a felony to do it. It's a violation of the Espionage Act. It doesn't even have to be classified. Everybody, it's not classified. It doesn't say classified. It says any document. That doesn't mean classified. Any means any, right? Again, one of the communications from February 2, 2020 revealed that ex-NIAID head imploring Collins to please delete this email after you read it. A request that followed an all-hands-on-deck February 1, 2020 conference call with top NIH officials about the rapidly spreading pandemic from Wuhan, China. It probably was about how he funded them through EcoHealth Alliance. In one section of the email thread that month, British medical researcher Jeremy Farrar cautioned it was critical that responsible, respected scientists and agencies get ahead of the science and the narrative on this and are not reacting to reports which could be very damaging. Yeah, okay, we don't believe a fucking thing the medical community tells us now, thanks to Matt Fauci. The request in the preceding call prompted a now infamous scientific paper titled The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, published the following month, that dismissed the so-called lab leak theory. In other words, that was the first lie of the origin of COVID-19. A GOP-led committee investigation previously uncovered. Fauci claimed he did not know who authored the paper when discussing it with members of the press in 2020, April, despite having helped edit it. And the same month, he lied about every goddamn thing. And the same month also described the lab leak theory as a shiny object that will go away. Yeah, okay. There you go. We don't need to anymore. Fauci lied. People died.
The truth, like karma, is a real bitch.
Oh, it is.
Can I say that? Can I say that?
You can say that.
All right.
You have permission of.
Listen, folks.
You got to roll.
Oh, it's about that time.
Oh, your ass alarm is going off.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've been here like more than 3 hours now.
3:03. Yeah, you're right. Those three minutes are just fucking killing me.
Oh, that's the 3 minutes that always gets me.
Joe, who are you, man? Who? Joe, who?
So, if there's one more story that you think is really important to read, let's do that.
There's always going to be one more.
I mean, there's always another one, but let's do one more. If you want to do one more, let's do one more.
Sure. Disciples. Yeah, let's go out on a good one. So, hang on. Let's stop this. It's 1:44. It's Megyn Kelly. Here we go. Hello? Where's my mouse? Oh, shit. All right, here we go. So, Megyn Kelly talking about how she says the MAGA people are going to rise up to this. So let's just, is it off? Yeah, let's give it a
In the past, whatever it's been, 18 hours, I've had zero appetite to look at what they're saying about him. Like I'm having a really difficult time caring. And that's unlike me. Usually on these stories, I definitely look at what the left is saying, and then I usually mock them on my show, and it's somewhat cathartic.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm just not there at all. I just feel like they can go fuck themselves. I couldn't give two shits about what they think of Charlie Kirk. They didn't know him. They don't understand any of us. And it's because of willful blindness. They choose to demonize rather than seek to understand. So fuck them.
Right.
I just feel like we know who he was. We understand his legacy. We will live up to it. We will continue his mission. We will shove it down their throats with every show and column that we have, and we will do it relentlessly.
Yeah.
If they think they've gotten less of Charlie Kirk, they're going to get more.
Million more.
I'm telling you, these are disciples of his on these college campuses who now are going to find the strength to rise up against the nonsense. And people like me, like you, like Ben Shapiro, all of us who have been in these trenches for quite some time only feel emboldened, not cowed, emboldened to say all of the things and say them even more forcefully and to work on being even more compelling and even more energetic so we can say them in more places to more faces and persuade more millions over to our side. They've done exactly what they didn't want to do. And the one thing they haven't done is to silence Charlie's message, though they've succeeded in silencing him.
Now, Jade, I got one more that follows up on that.
Okay.
And it's 1:30. It is the Hispanic guy I talked about. Our guest is no longer here, so I feel I can play this. There's a lot of F-bombs in this, guys, but I want you to pay attention to it because there is a message. The whole thing is bringing a message that I thought about. So here he is. He's a Hispanic MAGA guy. There's no sound. Oh, shit. Let me take that off. Okay. Here we go.
It's not up.
It's not? All right, hold on. Oh, shit. When I closed the Megyn Kelly, it closed the whole damn thing. All right, fine. So let's do it.
There we go.
Let's do it this way. I got to bring it. Where the hell is it to bring it up? There it is. I can't see past my camera or anything like that. So here we go.
So I got kicked out of another live. Then I got a death threat, then fucking blocked. So I might yell a little bit. With that being said, this message goes out to all you pendejos and fucking tortas. You fucking Carls and Karens, you fucking Day-Days and Felicias, the ones that are out here celebrating what happened to my brother, Charlie Kirk. You stupid motherfuckers just created millions more Charlie Kirks. And the more you fucking celebrate his death, the more people are not gonna give a fuck about you or your fucking cause. Charlie Kirk was our brother. Charlie Kirk was one of us. And just to be fucking clear, we are Charlie Kirk. Do you think that we want to work with any of you anymore? No, the fuck we don't. You assassinated him in front of his wife, his kids, and I don't want to hear that bullshit. But Lou, I'm not one of them. Shut the fuck up. Then go get your side figured the fuck out and fixed ASAP. I don't want to hear fucking Trump's name in your fucking mouth. I don't want to hear Charlie's name in your fucking mouth. I want you to go unfuck the fuck out of your side. And if you can't unfuck them people, then fucking leave them. Do what the fuck I did and leave the fucking Democrat Party. Because in no way, shape, manner, or fucking form, what happened yesterday should never fucking happen. And if you got a problem with this, fuck you. So I got...
That's pretty much says it all. Right there.
That's pretty much on point.
That pretty much says it right there.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of our out of country listeners are clued in, but I thought it was very funny. He comes out and he oh, you fucking pendejos. It's a Spanish word. It's a Spanish word. It's not polite.
Right, but still. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button if you haven't already. It really helps us. We got 25 up there. It's pretty good. This week was real cool. I hope you guys
We topped out at 33.
Good. I thought Robyn did a fantastic job. I really like her. Go and check her out. You can go Courage is the Cure pretty much anywhere. Yeah, I know. 40, he does. He spoke our language, didn't he? Yeah. Thanks, everybody. We love you, man. Please bring a friend next week. I keep saying that, but you guys are like showing me you don't have any friends. Come on, bring your friends, man. You guys are people. You gotta have friends. Bring your. We're being serious when we say that. Please, let's try to double the amount of people we get in here. That's our goal. Okay. Try to bring more people.
If everybody brought one friend, we'd have double the attendees.
There you go. Hey, Chris, what's up, man? All right, brother. All right. So yeah, we had a good night. I thought, even though it was about a sad thing that happened, it was a terrible week for us. You have no friends. Yeah, I'm your friend. What are you talking about? What's called? It was a very, very sad thing that happened. We'll get through it, but I don't really. You guys are fun. You guys are the best, man. I don't really, you know. You guys.
Pamela also said it.
I know. That's what I said. I said, I'm here on a Friday night. Yeah, okay. Oh, thanks a lot. So you'd rather be out with friends, partying, having a great time, than to be sitting here listening to me bloviate. All right. I know where you're coming from now. I tried to bring friends, but you guys are already here. I love you, man. You're the best. That's the best line. Bobby has the best lines. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is my Friday night date with Rich.
There you go. Yeah, we're having a great time here. But yeah, do me a favor, guys. Really, or at least just tell people, hey, yo, this guy does this live stream every week. He lets us say whatever the F we want. Like I can stop you, right? You know, have a good time. Grow the family is what I'm saying, right? Did you guys notice that the channel is going through a growth spurt right now?
Which is really nice.
Which is really nice, yeah. Too old for disco. There you go. Too old for disco. That's right. All right, people, we are out of here. Remember, please hit that like button. Really appreciate it. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Wait a minute. Will we see you next week? Yes, we will see you next week. All right.
Why wouldn't we?
I thought I had something to do, but I don't. I'm good. It's on a Saturday. Yeah. All right. Thank you, people. Love you all. You know that. I'll see you
next week.